Hi, folks. Welcome to Google Plus Week. I'm Dan McDermott. Good to have you with us. Let's go to our panel, beginning in New York with Mr. Alan Furstenberg. Alan, welcome, sir.
Hey, Dan, always great to be here.
Yes, it is, if I do say so myself.
It's a wonderful, wonderful Friday.
Also, we have we have Bruce Turner in a very noisy coffee shop. What's up, Bruce?
It's not too bad. I'm here in Lynchburg, Virginia at the Muse Coffee Company. Good to be here.
He's a good family man. It's his birthday, and he went out to celebrate his birthday at a freaking coffee shop. So, good for him. The roads are safe tonight. Not the case in Frederick, Maryland, where Mr. Craig Shipp joins us. Welcome, Craig.
Yeah, I'm splitting my bandwidth right now. I'm updating my Google Plus app as we speak. So
That's
that
such a
could be a
cute little
problem.
phone.
Yeah, it's not the size; it's how you use it, Dan.
Thank you.
She didn't say that.
Joining us from New Jersey is Jody Raines. Welcome, Jody.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me.
It's great.
I am afraid.
Yeah, it's a very verbal jousting, competitive thing. So just feel free to jump in there. What's behind you? It looks like is it a open piano?
Behind me, I don't know. Now I'm really afraid.
What's the black thing sticking up behind you on the right?
It's actually an inversion table where you hang upside down like a bat.
Could you do that during the
Awesome.
show?
I don't think so. Maybe post show.
If I pay you $5, will you? Joining us from Augusta, Georgia, home of the Masters, is Mr. Michael Banks. Welcome, Michael.
Wait a minute, before we move to Michael, did he just actually offer a guest $5? That's like more than any of us have gotten paid for this show.
Ever.
Oh,
Freaking
I
all
mean,
these years.
I know, isn't it going on 2 years? We're going to be hitting a 2-year anniversary here really soon.
Yeah, but would you guys hang upside down?
Sure.
In a second.
Ham does it like almost all the time.
That's usually
no,
about
that's hanging
20
upside
minutes
down,
before
not
she.
swinging upside down from the chandelier.
Oh, okay.
You people are insane. Michael Banks, welcome, sir.
What's up?
And from Menifee, California, Pam Adger.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jody.
So, for some reason, you watch, even though. Okay, so what's our first thing?
And you send us comments on YouTube and events because we love to read them.
Alan, what the hell is up? You've got the new. What's that weird thing you got going on?
You know, Dan, it's funny you ask because this is one of those great new features of Google Plus this week.
It works
That's a-
surprisingly well.
It's a
You
wonderful
know what? It
segue for a
doesn't work
first show.
for me. I'm too white. It just totally, like, you guys saw it, just like totally, I have, like, just my eyes showing. Like, hi.
Show us.
This is
So-
insane.
So what this is a feature that's been added to Hangout Effects, and it now lets you set the background for Hangout Effects, and you can either have it automatically determine where you are, or you can kind of adjust manually how much of you can be seen. So right now I'm kind of in the middle here. I can adjust my background so you can see more of my background.
Okay.
Adjust it so you see less of my background, but also happen to see less of me as I'm kind of fighting my way through here. We now see Pam is sitting nicely on a beach somewhere. So what this is a new feature that's been enabled by a new feature in the Hangout API that's now available. Any Hangout developer can make use of this, create our own backgrounds, the same way we've created lower thirds overlays, other eye motion tracking overlays. So this is now available to everybody. So hopefully in the near future you'll see just tons and tons of new backgrounds coming out and working just as wonderfully as these are.
Yeah, it's
Honestly-
pretty. You got to admit, it's kind of ghetto. No
Well,
offense.
you
It's
know,
like the
Dan,
worst crappy
Dan,
chroma key I've ever seen.
You call everything that comes out of I/O ghetto because this was announced at I/O. Admittedly, I think this is one of the what's the most generous way I can put it?
Step forward.
Least useful features I have ever seen for the Hangout API.
You know, remember
Oh, I think it's
the
kinda
glasses,
cool.
the mustaches and the glasses, which are so. Chi, when he was on, said that those are incredibly popular with women users, and my sister.
He said they were
Loved them.
incredibly popular. Period. Now, admittedly, there are a lot of
You found that's
fun,
less
practical
useful.
uses for these things.
What
But
possible practical use would that?
A victim witness
But-
program?
But let's be.
Yeah, if you're
okay,
interviewing
sorry.
someone and you can't reveal their identity.
But let's be
Oh,
honest
it's a
here.
good
If the
disguise. I'm
background
sure
worked
no
better,
one would know
it
who he
might
is.
be. But go ahead, Jody. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say no one would know who you are. I don't know who you are.
You didn't tell me the guy from anger management was going to be on the show, Dan.
So would I be assuming correctly that if you had a blue background or a green background and decent lighting in front, that it would work better than it is in your demonstration?
Not really, no, because it doesn't actually try to use chroma key type information. The way it works is it tries to detect what is moving and what looks like it's something that's moving a lot. So if you've got a cat walking around in your background, it may, or a cat sitting in your background, it may determine that that's not motion, and try to adjust it as background, foreground accordingly. It tries to be clever. It tries to be smart and figure out what's background versus what's foreground, and it doesn't always work. I'm tired of this.
Alan, how do you access it?
You can it's part of the Google Effects app. So if you go to Google Effects, which a few of us are running currently, but which is available to everybody from the Hangout apps page, it will go. There's a screen that's labeled Backgrounds Experimental. The experimental should tip you off a little bit, but this has now been moved into the unexperimental portion of the API. So in addition to the ones that you see on Google Effects, you'll probably start seeing other app writers coming out with their own nifty background effects at some point in the future. And there are some neat things that'll hopefully we'll be seeing from it. Bruce, you look like you're on a washed out beach right now.
Maybe he's underwater.
It looks like a Final Fantasy video.
Good Lord.
I'm through.
Okay, so this is very useful.
Not really, no. But we'll pretend.
It could be.
Yeah.
If you're somewhere where you don't want anybody to know where you are.
Useful to the trolls. Ain't that right, Craig?
Well, now, Jody brings up a good point because I work from home. I'm a telecommuter. And sometimes I work off-site. I got to get out of my office and come to a coffee house like this. And if I'm doing a call, Google Hangout, with somebody on my staff, I could make my own background that looks like I'm at home.
It's a valid point. The problem is this blurring effect along the edge and the fact that it's not entirely reliable. As long as you're not really trying to keep where you are secret and you're just trying to give the impression of where you might be, it's probably fine. If you're actually trying to do real backgrounding, it's going to look a little weird.
I think it's a play on green screen.
Imagine that Google would come out with something that's not reliable. I'm shocked.
Don't want to go there, Craig. You really don't. Well, but you know what, Craig? Maybe that's the perfect segue for our next subject. What do you think, Dan?
I think so.
Google is the boss of data.
So change
No,
communities.
not that one. The next one, which
I
I'm
can't
about to
believe we
put-
have 24 people watching this.
The next one.
Bug Week. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
You know they have
terms of
Shark
high
Week.
reliability,
Discover has Shark Week. Google Plus has Bug Week. Because they're also trolling our Monday show, because last Monday was Labor Day, so we had to do the Monday show on Tuesday. The week before that, and this coming Monday, there's scheduled maintenance, and so we're going to have to do it on Tuesday.
So the whole story here is that there have been an awful lot of bugs on Google Plus this week, like more than usual. The one that Dan is alluding to is, that's a beautiful one there, Pam. That's nice.
I literally have a bug flying around my face as we're discussing this.
This is my webcam. Not
That's a new one.
not Google's
Jesus.
app. See, it's better. Look. Notice I move side to side and it doesn't.
That's an
Right.
overlay.
Yeah.
That we can do though. It's
Better. It's
No,
better.
It's
No,
an
it's
overlay
not.
as opposed to an underlay.
It's
I think I'm going to have to get some alcohol to get through this.
But see, that's a good point, though, because I think that it's not necessarily a professional option, but it is a lot of fun. So the question then becomes, who are they trying to appeal to? Are they trying to appeal to a professional audience, or are they trying to appeal to the masses who will play with this, just like the mustaches and the glasses and the hats and the
My sister is
noises.
a corporate. She was like a, rich corporate executive type, and she was testing Hangouts with her staff, and they were all playing with it was a bunch of women. They were all doing the mustaches and the hats and just giggling like 12-year-olds. I mean, I think they want is this is obviously, I assume, not something that a team worked 6 months on, right? This is probably a 20% thing. But
Well, this was one of the major rollouts at I/O. Was this feature?
are you kidding me?
No.
Wow.
They spent half a session talking about this.
The mustaches,
The backgrounds.
the backgrounds. I swear to God, it looks like some cheap ass, poorly lit chroma key a kid you could buy at Walmart.
Well, that's what it is. It's an attempt to do chroma key stuff. But I mean, Jody, I think the answer is that yes, right now this technology is meant to be appealing to the fun side of things. The question is, like with a lot of the Hangout technology, it's are they introducing things that can cross over to a wide range of uses? So, for example, the overlay stuff, it can be used for what Pam has been doing, or it can be used for lower thirds.
Mhm.
So it's got both of those elements to it. So, the mustaches, we make fun of it, but it has some serious game-related stuff. So you have gaming that's part of Hangouts. The question's going to come in, where does this background stuff fit in that whole range of things? How does it appeal to multiple segments who are using Hangouts right now?
I think they want to appeal to everybody. There's little kids like Ben, Oleg Moskalinsky's son Ben, and his friends, and there's senior citizens on here. There's folks in different countries. So I say bring it on, if they can make this happen. I still want a game show app, a simple app where I can tell who hit a button first.
Yeah, Dave Levine wants.
My
one of
God,
those too.
Dan, do you ever watch your own
Yeah.
show?
I've been harping on this for ages.
And I've written
Yeah.
the program a year and a half ago.
Are you kidding me?
Ooh, Dave would love to have that for a sex toy game show.
Oh my God!
Oh my. Hey, have you guys seen Craig Lukey's game show?
I bet
He's
Pam's
done
is better.
several of them. I don't think it's a sex show,
Dave,
but then again, I
Dave,
don't know.
Dave. Not mine. Although I probably could put on a sex toy game show, couldn't I?
So what's the next topic, Dan?
Yeah. We actually have more viewers now. This is unbelievable. I can't believe we have any
You
viewers.
sound surprised by that.
See, we're talking about
maybe
sex.
we'll reconfigure this show.
Word's gotten out. Pam's drunk and talking about sex, and there's some chick is going to hang upside down. And so we're going to have like 75 viewers.
Wow.
Getting back to the bugs, this morning I was in a Google Hangout, and 3 times within 7 or 8 minutes, the Hangout crashed and came back up again. Crashed and came back up again.
Wow.
This is so amateurish, this background stuff and the mustaches. When companies like Zoom are doing stellar video, stellar audio, stellar camera switching, and professional people are going to bypass Hangouts over Zoom any day. I mean, $10 a month for Zoom Premium gives you far better capabilities than what you get in a Hangout.
We were going to try it, Bruce, except it won't work. It wouldn't work we were going to try it on the Android Week show, but it
Right.
wouldn't. It doesn't. They don't support the Chrome operating system. So Alan and Nate, are you on the Chrome box or your Chrome Pixel, Alan?
Right now I'm on the Chrome box. Nate's on his Pixel. You've got to have, you're cutting out a sizable segment of the panel. Couldn't use it.
Oh, right.
Well,
yeah.
and also you can't stream it live to your YouTube channel, right?
Sure you can.
But why would you do a Google Plus show on anything but Google Plus?
Because Google Plus isn't supporting us. And Google Plus is utterly failing at their own task.
That's not fair. What do you mean they don't support us?
Listener, did you just hear what Bruce said? He said he had numerous crashes today while trying to use Hangouts.
I think they're rolling out an update, though. I don't think it's an
They're
ongoing problem.
They're tweaking and playing with this thing every single day. You never know what you're going to get on a given day in Hangouts. And I'm in Hangouts every single day. Tech and Coffee Hangout, and I hang out with a bunch of other folks from the IAIB, Internet Association, International Association of Internet Broadcasters, with Andrew Zarian. We're in Hangouts quite often, and it's a bag of tricks. You never know what's going to happen. The sooner the Google Talk plugin dies, and Google can get to full web RTC, the better off I think it's going to be.
Which is fortunately where they're going, but we still have tons of issues. I mean, the fact that YouTube is going to be in maintenance mode during prime time on the East Coast
Again.
next Monday again. Okay, they went into emergency maintenance mode in the middle of the week. It indicates, yes, they're rolling out stuff, but it means that either they're rolling out stuff before it's ready for prime time, or they've got an utterly non-existent quality assurance team, which I know they've got a quality assurance team, or it means they need to manage their network maintenance better.
Well, it would be nice to know exactly what are they doing. I mean, why are they having to do this week after week? What type of maintenance are they employing the DCMA requests? Is that what they're doing? Are they trashing videos, getting them off, or are they improving the behind the scenes things, or what are they doing? Are they working on integrating? It makes a difference.
Well, what they're saying in this case, and I'm sorry, Craig. What they're doing in this case is they say they are doing upgrades that will affect being able to do live streaming to YouTube. So YouTube Live may not be working, and Hangouts on Air that start or end during the time may not record. Emphasis on the may. So
you may not be able to end them.
Right. So presumably it's got something to do with how they're handling the live system. Hopefully it means they're upgrading it, but you're right. It would be nice to know exactly what they're doing. Go ahead.
I think there's a good chance it's a scalability issue. When they started giving YouTube Live away with everybody with 100 subscribers, I think they're having scalability issues.
Well, I know that that's the reason that they went from. It used to be it was invite only. There was no way to apply for live, and we know one prominent person who has a couple million followers on Google Plus, and she couldn't get it. So then they did the 1,000 subscribers, and they were planning on doing it 100, but that's a scalability thing. They had to make sure they could handle, and they weren't exactly sure how many people would be using it. So, but God, if we could get this quality in an HOA, I'd go back to the HOA with the questions
but why on earth would they do this maintenance during the same exact time slot almost weeks in a row? I mean, we only skipped one Monday there where we didn't do it.
Do we know that
and
that's
Google was
not
closed then? It was a Labor Day. It was Labor Day, so Google wasn't even open that day.
Was it? But it was the week before and after Labor Day that they did it. That's why we're doing 3 Mondays. But do we know if that is a busy time or a very slow time? Because it could be 5 a.m. here, but in India and in China and Europe, it's 10 a.m. in Europe, or 11 a.m.
Whatever it is,
on,
you spread the pain. And my gosh, you do it on a Tuesday night one time, you do it on a Monday night one time, whatever. And you certainly shouldn't do it during prime time on the East Coast. And 6 o'clock on the West Coast is also a busy time.
But I don't know. I mean, it's like a free service. And
no,
it ain't
you can't use that
world.
argument if they want to succeed. You can't use that argument.
You can always use the argument free.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense to use that argument because they're not doing this all for free. They're doing this for a reason. They've got a game plan, or at least they should have, and they're rolling out services to keep us in the ecosystem. They're losing the battle to, Facebook, for example.
Video? They're losing the video battle to Facebook?
They're losing every battle.
Oh my
as far as
gosh.
social goes. And so
I don't agree with that, Craig.
If they want people to play in the Google Plus arena, they've got to do things to keep us here.
Explain to me how Facebook video is bigger than YouTube, Craig. That's
almost everybody I brought over here has turned around and left.
How is Facebook video bigger than YouTube? This is going to be
That's
good.
not what they're doing on Facebook. They're not doing video. They're just interacting. They're just spending time.
Of course
there.
they're not using video on Facebook. It sucks there.
I can tell you though, the people that I've done Skype video calls with on Facebook, it has worked great.
Because no one's using it.
At all.
Skype is horrible.
Well, it's worked every time I've used it with them. And it's
I've
easier
used
to
it a
do.
lot of times and it hasn't worked, honestly.
These
We use
people
it
are
all the
actually
time to
Google
check
fans.
webcasts.
This
I'm
is
with Jody
unreal.
on this one. Skype is great when it works and sucks when it doesn't, which is surprisingly just like Hangouts.
Yeah.
It's great when it works, and it's
But see,
Hangouts normally work. YouTube Live normally works, and they gave us like a week's notice about the Monday shutdowns, and oh my God, we have to move it to Tuesday. It's not a big deal.
How many
it's
times?
not a big deal for us, Dan, because we take it pretty casually. But if you're the type of show that is, trying to draw, that actually starts on time every week, and starts on the same day, and has a schedule.
That was a dig just then.
Yes, it was,
was.
Dan. Very perceptive of you tonight. Then if you're losing your user, you're losing your followers if they try to tune in at 8:00 and your show isn't on at 8:00.
Well, and that was my point about tonight's show. I mean, we said 5, and then it's 5:30, and then it starts at 6. We might want to,
Ish.
get up
Well, you know
earlier.
what?
yeah, it would make sense to start the show at a consistent time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But not even talking about us. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got plenty of bugs, including the ones that keep landing.
Only
on Dan's
5% of the people watch live. You know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah, because they never know when it's going to start.
Like right now, what is
Isn't
it?
that the beauty of the internet? Isn't that why it's a podcast playable on demand? I mean,
we have
sure.
28. I'm looking at
Yeah,
the
but-
YouTube
yeah, but
control
Jody,
panel
you
here.
also, if you have a show
Oh, God,
that
sorry.
depends on interaction with like the Hooping Live show, for example, it's very dependent on audience participation, and so you
Craig, are
want
you
those
serious?
people. You want those people to know when they can come and participate in the show, and Dan has a lot of viewer participation in this show.
Speaking of viewer participation, I should actually bring in some comments.
Real
because
quick,
our
Alan, we
comments-
have 28 people watching now, or
our
the peak
comments list
concurrent
has
was
actually been
28.
on fire tonight.
They could be on whatever portion of the show, right? They're not all watching live. Some will watch from the beginning, so we don't know how many are watching live, and we
They're
get a
all
lot of
pretty much.
comments.
We know they're all live because they're mostly keeping up with our comments. In fact,
Like he's
we've missed a
undercover.
lot of them. So here's Bruce. Here's Inspector talking about how Bruce is cracking me up. It's like he's undercover.
Thank you.
John is kind of wondering why they don't have a test environment for their implementations. Well, there's two things about that, John. The first is they do have a test environment.
We are their test environment.
But
In a way.
let's be honest,
In a way.
we are the test environment. We're the final test. You just can't test with 1 million or 5 million people unless you actually have 5 million people trying it at once. Jeffrey agrees with Bruce. I'm not entirely sure about what, but I'm good with agreeing with Bruce on this one too.
Yeah, that's
Thank
a
you,
safe bet anyway. Just
It's
agree with
just,
Bruce
they're
and
just
you're
being
okay.
nice to Bruce this week because it's his freaking birthday.
No, he's usually right. We agree with Bruce.
We like Bruce.
We had this interesting comment from Dan regarding their previous or previous subject. I see the effects like the mustaches, hats, and glasses as a way to tune the facial recognition algorithms. I don't know. I think at this point they're pretty solidly tuned. They're not really doing too much tweaking on them. But there were other bugs. If this was the only bug this week, we would probably not even be talking about it. Certainly not talking about it for 10 minutes and climbing still. But it wasn't the only one. In fact, it wasn't even the biggest one this week. The biggest one this week is the fact that the edit link for photos mysteriously disappeared over the Labor Day weekend and stayed vanished for a good 5 days or so. Now, Michael, you're a TC, so I know you were fielding a lot of these questions as they came up in the Google Plus the Google Plus help community.
TC means top contributor.
Right.
Basically,
So-
free tech
so-
support for Google.
So you're the frontline support. You were fielding a bunch of these questions. What was going on? What was the problem?
Well, yeah, it was a lot of people's like, I can't edit photos, and then some people were confused, like I can edit photos fine, but I mean, there's two systems. Like one, Google Plus uses their system, but the mobile app is like a totally different system. So you could always throughout the week edit photos on your mobile device, and it'll work fine. But the edit photo button sort of disappeared on Google Plus. So I mean, Google Plus Photos acknowledged that it was gone, and that they were working to get it back, and so it came back. So I mean, it was just a bug, and they fixed it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think I've seen anybody in that community talk about missing a feature as much as this one when it vanished.
Shockingly, because I never used that freaking button.
I didn't even know it existed.
I always saw it, but I mean, I would do it for like something to flip a photo, something simple. But like, I never used that feature.
I use it all the time.
For what? For what? Do what?
They tried.
Most of my photo editing at this point, I use the creative, whatever it's called these days.
But what do you do in it? That's my question.
I do a lot of color tweaking, cropping, straightening.
I hope not.
You're going to be demonstrating twerking for us, Dan?
That's post twerking. Correct everything that's twerking messed
that's
up.
to take the cricks out of the back after the twerking.
Maybe the Hoopers twerk.
So, Michael,
Silence.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I use it for basic, reasonable edits. If I go, if I want to do Photoshop edits, I go to Photoshop. But for most of my photos, which get auto-uploaded from Glass or from my phone, I'd really rather just edit them there. And besides, the Pixel doesn't have a photo editor. So that's the only photo editor I have on my Pixel.
And I guess that makes sense that a lot of people edit their photos that way. Me, me being a photographer, I mean, I use stuff like Lightroom and stuff like that.
Right. I could, when I need to do serious, detailed layers and real editing, yeah, then I download it to a computer that has, GIMP on it. But for editing that I want to do in my Pixel, it does a good job for 95% of what I need.
And that's why it was shocking me as well, because like even before I started using Lightroom and all this stuff, I would edit my photo before, like, with the mobile or different apps like that. I would edit it first, then share it when it's done.
But but the reality of it is, it's Instagram for Google Plus is really all it is, right? I mean, it's appealing to that same segment of the audience that the hats and the mustaches and the glasses and the funky backgrounds do.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
My
Dan?
audio, I had it potted down. It's back. Sorry. I forget we get 6 people.
Okay,
I'm surprised they weren't happy that my mic was down. If only this
I'm
bug
surprised
could
anyone
happen with
mentioned it
Craig.
at all, but
Alan.
there are these awkward pauses sometimes. I'm sorry, Jody, go ahead.
Alan, but before we move on the editing thing, have you tried the Flickr editor?
I tried to, and Flickr decided to be very pissy at me for a few days, and then I gave up with it.
Because it's a dinosaur.
I like it.
No.
I love Flickr. I love me some Flickr.
To be fair, Craig suggested it. We had several of our viewers say that I really should give it a chance. So I tried giving it a chance. I ran out of time actually trying to get it running because its uploader was just terrible, and I totally lost track of where the pictures were. But I promise I will get back to it, Craig. I haven't forgotten about it.
Now, Flickr, I mean, I love their front end. I love it. But their back end is like they just, like with the new rollout of the new UI, it looks like they just set it on top of the old.
Well, and it's also slowed down. I have noticed Flickr several times where it's running a lot slower than it used to run. So I hope they get those kinks worked out, because in some cases it is running slower than it was. But I did like the few times that I've used their web-based editor. It's pretty good. And it's totally web-based. So I would think it would work on a Pixel or on anything.
Yep.
Okay, so are we done trolling Google?
No, of course not, because there were still more bugs.
No.
No, I
Why don't we have a
know,
weekly
John,
show?
isn't it?
Or we just attack Google?
Well,
we do.
That's how our shows go sometimes.
Don't worry, they're not listening.
Actually, that's not true. We do know they do
Ouch.
listen. On
They
occasion.
listen and we get feedback, and
See,
they
Craig, despite the fact that you're on the show, they do listen to us.
and they do support. Dallin, I don't agree with your comment earlier that Google doesn't support the show. They do. You know that. They do a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Did I say they don't support the show?
You said that.
I don't think that's exactly what I said. I'm trying to remember how I phrased what I said, but it wasn't
Well,
quite like
I
that.
don't think he was talking specifically about the show. He was talking about Hangouts and everything in general, I think.
Okay. So anyway,
What
more
about
bugs. Go ahead,
Chromecast?
Alan. Get it all out of your system.
What was the? Oh, right, the fact that people's streams were disappearing last week as well. This is another issue. Michael, you want to explain this one?
No.
Poor Michael.
I mean,
Brad, I was hoping to toss it to you because I never saw the problem. I was just
Defend
hearing
yourself,
people
Michael.
reporting it.
I ran into the issue one time, and I mean, I've had different iterations of the issue. So I mean, one time it was like posts were missing, and it was like this one line, and like all this was just blank on this side, and it was like one line of stream, and then like once you get to the bottom, they'll show up again, and then another time it'll just set, like it can't load, and then try again. But every time with all of those issues, a simple refresh fixed it. So it wasn't a big bug.
I don't know. It sounded like a big bug. I mean, it was a big enough bug that the chief engineer for Google Plus showed up and said it's a bug. We're working on it.
I mean, it wasn't a big bug compared to the edit photo button.
So not as widespread, you're saying?
I don't know.
Okay.
I got more edit. There were more edit issues on the Google Plus community than any other thing. Second was Auto Awesome, shockingly. There was no bug, but I mean, people were not happy with it.
So we had John recommending that I try Pixlr. Sorry, Pixlr. The biggest problem I have with trying anything else is that all of my stuff gets auto uploaded to Google Plus, and anything that just isn't drop dead easy to do means it's just as easy for me to download it and re-upload it.
In defense, I mean, some things go to Drive, which still does go to Google Plus, but.
Yeah, we can talk about that bug another time if we really want to. But there was another bug. What, the feature that not all the pictures will come over, and it's a pain in the ass to manage, and
they never come over.
But you know what? Let's be honest. Photo management in Google Plus just sucks.
Well, it sucks, but it looks good.
No, it doesn't even look good.
Yeah, it does.
It looks
better
acceptable.
than anything else.
You know,
that's sad.
You bring this up because I listened to someone on a podcast today, I'm not going to say who, and they were talking about how great Google Plus is for photos and all this. I don't understand how you possibly can organize and manage them. I guess people are supposed to try to find them by keyword search. I mean, I have no idea how somebody would come to my stream, for example, and find a particular photo. I guess they could click on photos and scroll down that long list and try to go through all the sets or whatever they call them and try to find the photo. There doesn't seem to be an easy way to find the photos.
So it's interesting you say that. Like, most people I see that when they use Google Plus is they don't browse like you do on Facebook. I mean, they just don't go to a random person and say, oh, let's look at their photos. And usually when you share a photo, they see your photos. I don't usually go to someone's page and
so if they don't share, if they don't see it at the time in their stream or whatever, then they're not going to see it. But see, and I hate to keep bringing Flickr up, but on sites like that, you really can organize your photos in various ways that does make it easier if somebody is coming and looking for a particular set of photos. For example, if I took their portrait somewhere at an event or whatever and they want to find it and download it, it's a lot easier to find it there than they'd ever find it on Google+.
I disagree because, I mean, with Flickr, the thing like sets and then groups. Collections. I mean, there's so many different categories of photos. That just like, wow. I didn't get it.
Or they could just keyword search, and the keyword search works pretty good.
We should just all go to Facebook and end this.
Well, Craig, it's actually, I mean, the thing about it, though, I think when you're talking about keyword search is then you're actually start talking about Google. No, you're talking about Google search. Because,
well, but I've done some searches on Google Plus trying to find things, and it doesn't seem to work that well for me.
But I didn't say Google Plus. I said Google.
I can find just about anything I'm looking for if I know the keywords.
And Pam knows what she's looking for.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, I think Craig has a good point, and I think...
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Wait. Back up.
Don't make him finish. Don't make him feel good.
You say that one more time.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Jody. You can stroke Craig's ego.
Yeah, but with regard to having a better way of organizing photos, I don't know that has been necessarily something that I've looked for in Google Plus, but now that you bring it up, Craig, I can see that that would be a nice addition.
I
And
agree.
maybe it's something you can recommend. But I think that, in my humble opinion, I think Google Plus has done a really great job with pictures. I think the fact that the photo editor disappeared for a couple days, oh well, you know, they were making it better, they were doing something else to it. But I think that the resolution of the pictures, the way that they show up, recently, it appears that there has been a big improvement. Maybe, you know, maybe it's old age catching up with me, but.
Well, I have no problem with the way they're displayed. I just have an issue with finding them later on. If somebody wants to go back and find them.
Now, is that a bookmarking issue, or is that?
Oh, do we really want to go there? Do we
I knew it.
really want to go there, Michael?
Yes, yeah.
Well, and it depends how you're using it, because if you think about it, if you're just using the picture area for like a real-time share, like here's a picture, I'm sharing it now, and now like Twitter, nobody goes back to Twitter and looks at the old stuff you posted.
Yep.
You know, but what you're asking for, I think, is a nuance that I don't know that was necessarily considered when they put together the streaming.
But Jody,
Concept.
here's the thing. When the Google Plus photo system is really Picasa 2.0. They've said this. That Picasa is on its way out. Google Plus Photos are on its way in. Nobody's working on Picasa because they're all working on Google Plus Photos. They've also said time and time again that they get a lot of professional photographers here on Google Plus, and so the photo system is, I won't say it's tailored for those professional photographers, but it's done with them in mind. Okay.
I think that's only on the plan.
Given that, it suits them really badly, and it suits amateurs really badly. The whole management system behind photos is terrible.
But the front end is good.
If what you want to do is be able to stream videos out, it's good for the streaming part. It's not good for the back end part. So it's good on seeing new videos when they come out, or seeing new photos when they come out. Craig is pointing out it's difficult to find them again when you're looking for them, and I'll agree with him on that point.
Yeah.
It's not something I do, but I'll agree with him on that point. But it's really, really bad for the person who is taking photos and trying to distribute them. And it's made even worse by the fact that the auto backup system is great on one level. I mean, it's great that every single photo I take on glass, on my phone, every single photo goes to Google Plus. I think that's wonderful. It would be even better if a week from now I'd be able to find what I took a week ago without spending 20 minutes trying to scroll through, getting to getting to 2,000 photos ago.
But isn't that a function of how you've decided to save it into?
No, Pam,
No.
Pam, that's a function of how they have decided to save it.
Because, for example, like I'll create an album, like I'll put all my like landscapes in one album or so, and I share them differently. So the way I share them, I mean, they'll go to different locations, but that album is still there. But like if you go to my page, you'll see the album, but you'll see a whole bunch of more too.
Now, Michael, let me ask you a question. If you have a landscape photo, okay, that also happened to be taken in New York, for example, and you want to take that photo and you want to put it in your landscape photos, and you also want to put it in a set of New York photos. And in the old web albums, there was a copy function where you would copy it from one end to another. Does it actually make a copy of that photo, and the photo you have two different photos, or is it the same photo and it's treating it like a database and it's just putting it in that?
The copy photo, when you copy a photo, is a separate photo. The only thing that stays with a photo through like metadata are comments plus ones. So when you do, and like it depends how you.
So it's actually
share it,
creating
too.
a copy of that photo if you copy it into another
Yes, it's
album
a
or whatever.
separate
Yes,
copy.
but there's a reason for that, Craig, and it's almost a legitimate reason. Even.
Depending on how you share it. Sharing is the key.
That's it. It's the share. The fact is, because it's in multiple albums, you can change the permissions on an album and to make it restrictive, and you would assume that the comments made on that photo in that album
Now
stay
he wasn't.
restricted.
Yeah, but
That's the thing, though. He wasn't even talking about a comment. He wasn't even talking about a post. He's talking. Well, from what I understood, he was talking about if I go in here and go in the album and just copy it from there to another. That doesn't share it. But if you create a post, then that makes a whole separate copy that then stays with comments, and then comments will follow that post.
So like, again, I just think it should be more like a database. I really think it's
Only posts, only when you share a photo and put text with it like a post, that is when it becomes a database with that post. But if you just move photos around in your, album, those are just photos.
What if you have shared one of the photos in the album and you move it to another album? Does that delete the post?
It stays, no, when you move a photo, and let's say you share one photo out of an album, that
Yes.
photo is now copied to the post. And that post goes in a whole separate album. So it's like making an auto copy and moving it to a whole separate album.
Okay.
That stays with the post.
Yeah,
Got
see that this whole concept
That's
violates
good.
the first rule in databases is in a database you have one item in the database, you don't make a duplicate of that
But
item.
you can't make the same thing when you have a private album. It's a database, yes, but it's private. But you want to take one thing in that album and share it publicly. So database hierarchy means you have to make one little sector public. You can't really do that. So you have to take it out the box. Then you make it public.
Well, on Flickr, for example, you can have a photo that's just family, just
Because
shared
each
with
photo
your
is a
family.
separate box. That's
And
why.
then you can take that photo and you can put it in a group over yonder, and then that whole group can also see that photo.
Yes,
but it's
but
still
each
only
group
one
is a separate
photo.
box. Each group is a separate box. It's like a group of boxes in one room.
Here's the problem, Craig. If you think of comments on a photo as metadata, which they are, okay, when you make a copy of that photo, or when you, as you put it, permit another group to see that photo, do they also see the same bits of metadata, i.e. the comments? If the answer is yes, then you may be leaking
Well, they
comments
wouldn't
out
have
of.
to. It could just be separate comments in that group. It wouldn't have to be where they would.
But
see
then
it.
you're not really making a copy of the photo.
No, I don't want to make a copy of the photo. Is my
Sorry,
point.
then you're not really linking to the same photo, because if a photo has comments, and those comments are part of the photo, then you're not linking to the same photo.
Yeah, you can't be a boy and a girl.
Something that has the same image data, but not necessarily the same of the rest of the metadata.
Well, all the
associated
data
with it.
could walk along with that photo. It could all be there, but it could only.
It cannot.
But you could show just certain parts of it to the people in the group. All the comments that they did, for example,
cannot.
could all
You
be
can't
shown
say-
to them.
You can't say your gender's a male and then turn around and say it's a female. It's always going to be one thing.
Anyway, we're getting a little bit far afield here.
You
and,
think?
I don't know, Dan. You're the host.
I swear to God, I'm getting ready to get my pillow.
Now you know how we feel.
I actually had
anyway,
about 5 more questions about photo editing, sharing,
Go
and
ahead.
posting, but that's okay.
Bring
I'll
it.
wait.
You know, we can
No,
talk.
no,
we'll
I'll
be
send
talking
it to
about
him
photos.
privately.
We'll be talking about photos some more later in the show. I wanted to bring a couple of comments in. I like Jody. She's a lot more positive in relation to the Google Plus bugs compared to the rest of the panel.
Craig.
She's a plant from Google.
Jody rocks.
Give
Oh,
Jody
I
6
like
more
Jody.
months. Give Jody 6 more months. She'll sound like all of us soon.
Yeah.
I got a funny
So
thing.
Jody, welcome to
after you do
Google
your-
Plus Week.
I got a quick funny thing. I was trolling Nate. We always screw with each other.
A
And
quick funny thing. Any over under
I'm
on
going
the
to get
time
my
here?
pillow. I'm going to get my pillow.
No, so I was trolling
One
Nate
time.
with my twerking picture,
Oops.
and it's Nate Swanner's Monday night panelist from Android Authority. So I was twerking him with my, I was screwing with him, and it's on the What's Hot list. That time Nate Swanner twerked.
Yeah,
And,
I saw it with the fire. Yeah. and the
Yeah,
door.
that's funny. This chick, it's a real video. She was like showing off or whatever, but it's hysterical. She twerks and she falls over and catches on fire. And then I saw this thing. This is an Onion thing. It was on there that Subway had planned a September fly on in for September 11th, and it was $9.11. Note, this is not real. This is an Onion satire thing. So Subway did not actually do this. Just because I see that thing's getting a lot of traction. So just so people know. So anyway, I said that. But yeah, I agree. I don't know how you're friends, Jody, with Craig, because you're so much nicer. And
Thanks.
far more better looking.
I'm a little blonder than he is.
Yeah. Are we gonna? You want to do another half hour on the photo thing, Alan, or should we move?
Well, here we'll wrap it up with this comment from Michael. Do we have to talk about photos anymore? Take a picture.
It lasts longer.
Now there's a bug in my Pepsi.
Actually, I want to take this one in. Craig is right. Relational database management systems do not work the way Google is using them for photos. There's only one problem. Google isn't using a relational database management system. But thank you for playing.
Okay, so sadly,
From Andrew.
we're gonna move
I
on.
just tried searching for December 2012 in the search box, and it brought up my December photos. How is this hard? And finally, and really finally, Michael Daniels says, next. So back to you, Dan.
Michael Daniels is right. So, okay, topic 3. Another
Only
ratings
47
bonanza.
minutes in.
This is now topic 4, by the way.
I
Go
said
ahead,
3
Dan.
three
We're
for
having a
dramatic
counting
effect.
problem.
How much
I
longer?
think I'm
until we're
going to
not
go
talking
watch
about
my
photos?
VHS tape.
Oh my God. 4x3 works. I'll never go back. Okay, so change invitation settings for communities.
Yes, this is going to be the ratings bonanza of the evening. This is the one that Dan has been waiting for.
How do we retain any audience members?
Because we talk about photos for half an hour.
Do you guys? How many of y'all use communities? I almost.
I do. I have several.
Oh
Tell
dear!
us about
Did
your
you screen
communities,
share
Dan.
your communities?
I have a thong community and a hairy men fan club community.
Wow.
And they're both private invitation only, and they're popular. I mean,
They're the-
semi-popular for a
You-
private
they're probably
community.
the reason you get circled and uncircled most. Your Thursday posts, Thong Thursday.
Oh yeah.
We've had some very
Absolutely.
prominent-
Gingers, thongs, and if I post Freaky Friday, then yeah, I get.
I think you said Mike Elgin uncircled you on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Probably his wife looked at his stream and she's like, "What in the hell, Mike, are you doing?"
His wife walked in. That's
His
what it
wife
was.
probably had circled you when he wasn't looking, right?
Yep.
So Pam, you say that your private communities are by invitation only.
Yes.
Can people? So it's hidden from searches. People can't even find it if they search for
Nope.
it.
Actually, I get requests all the time for people requesting to join, so it is searchable. Thongs and Hairy Men Fan Club are both searchable. They're just not joinable without my okay.
Level
Well, that's the
3.
definition of a private community.
Level 3.
So basically, there's been a change to the community settings.
So I could change that to disallow people from requesting invites.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So they won't be able to search for it now. So you'll be a truly private community. The only way people will know about it is if you invited them. Similarly, public communities have a similar switch, whereas the two settings there are either anyone can join or you need to ask to join, but it's still a public community. Just you need to ask in order to actually become a member, but it's searchable. It's, the posts are public, but you need to ask to join to actually see to actually participate. Originally, these settings were locked, so you needed to pick one when you created the community, and when you discovered, if you discovered that the setting was wrong, you were unable to change it. Now it can be changed. It's important to note, however, that you still cannot turn a public community private or a
Right.
private community public. All this changes is how invitations and searching to find communities will work.
And I support that for sure. Because if you were in a private community, let's say you had a medical condition that you were embarrassed about or whatever, and you had your private history there, then the manager decides to make it public, and you're not even a member. active in it anymore, you'd have no idea, and all of your embarrassing things would,
You know what that sounds like? Photos.
Oh God.
Dan is giving you this look, Michael.
I'm trying hard to keep moving forward, people. Don't look back.
Dan,
Look.
you commented that Michael Daniels was right, so I just needed to share this quote from him. I love communities.
I like communities. Yeah, I mean, I find them very helpful. Like, especially for like tech support things. I've seen. I'm in some private communities about certain things, more like things that are being tested or whatever. And
we have this follow-up from
I see.
Michael.
oh my God.
We have this follow-up from Michael. Communities are like Twitter on steroids. I love it. Love it. Love it, I say. Love it. I'm mad about it. Anyway, you can get input for just what you want. I love how helpful they actually are. And, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think communities on Google Plus would be awesome. I really can't wait till they implement the feature.
Implement what feature?
Communities.
Okay, explain.
Okay. Alan loves communities. I mean, when it first came out, you should have saw the grin on his face when communities came out.
I tell you, the day that they announced communities,
I remember.
I was incredibly excited about it. I really was. I thought it was going to be a wonderful feature. And then they rolled out this thing that they called communities, and they were the lamest pile of excrement that I've ever seen. I thought they were absolutely horrible. They demonstrated the fact that nobody at Google has ever actually seen what an internet forum is like, or what Google Groups is like.
If you want to base it off
to their credit, they have made a lot of improvements, and it is now state of the art for 1980.
Oh my God.
Dan, answer me this.
Filling in for Craig
Answer
tonight.
me this.
Uh-oh.
Tell me where the official Glass community is located.
Is there one?
Yes, there is.
The
Okay.
official.
The official Glass community.
So
know.
it's got a little check mark and it says the official, or is it like
It is available
there's
from
one of 25 official Glass
No.
communities?
It is an official Glass community. Okay?
Is it public or invite only? Like you have to have Glass to do it, or
You
you
have
can?
to have Glass. But
Well,
I'll
how'd
tell
you find out
something.
about it?
It's not on Google Plus. There's
Is it a
reason
Google
it's not
group?
on Google Plus. Google Plus can't handle it.
I found it.
What's it on? Is it a Google group?
No, it's not a Google group.
Community.
What is it?
It's a bulletin board system.
That's kind of
It's a
sad.
bulletin board system. Yeah.
There
It's
are
pretty sad.
official Google communities. Where like
Here's another one for you. Okay. Right now, Google Plus Help Google Plus Help just shut down its Google group. How long ago, Michael? 2 weeks ago?
I'm sorry?
How long ago did the Google group for Google Plus Help shut down?
You talking about the Google Plus forum?
Yes, the Google Plus forum.
Okay. It was a while ago, and it's shut down, but they short it didn't shut down. It's still all available. It's just read only.
Okay, but you can't post there anymore. Now the official support location for Google
It's
Plus
communities.
is communities, and it took them 6 months to get to that point.
I mean, look,
But what's your
I
point?
still think that I still think I can't. I don't think I can screen share this, but I still like. I'm looking at my communities, right, and I see I am in a produced Hangout community, which I haven't gone to for a while, and I'm reminding myself to do this. There's a Do Share community if you have questions about that. There's a YouTube live streaming, YouTube creators, YouTube partners communities.
No, let me ask you
so
something,
it's
Dan.
helpful for tech support.
That's a great question. Tech support, great example. Tech support. We have this comment from Andrew. I'm in the Android community. People just ask the same questions over and over. Do you see that in other communities that you're in? I see Michael's nodding his head.
Well, there's no search feature. If you are using
yes,
it,
there is a search feature.
There's a search feature.
okay, but I mean,
But it's
You know what, though? I gotta tell you, though, that it doesn't matter what kind of community, and I'm not talking about Google communities, I'm talking about, like, bulletin boards and forums and et cetera, et cetera.
what?
You're always going to have people that don't search.
What'd you say?
That's
but
just
Anthony,
a part of...
here's the thing.
What-
On
what-
other forums, it's easier. If 20 people in a row are looking for the same bit of thing, if that post is sitting in the top 3 or 4, you'll see it easier. People tend to respond to it easier. You don't have the same amount of reposting over and over and over and over and freaking over again that you do on a Google Plus community.
At the same time, in the Google Plus community, with the number that, 89,000 people, once you get to like a certain amount of people, a small feature would not really change much of the habits.
Michael, I don't know, Michael. I've been in internet forums, and I'm sure you have as well, that have had hundreds of thousands of members, and you don't have nearly the same kind of problems that you do in Google Plus communities.
I think
I've
that,
moderated-
but
I've
they don't
moderated
handle
communities.
When they first came out, Alan, we all checked them out, and there's Google Plus Discuss, or whatever the official Google Plus community was.
It's now called Google Plus Help.
It's still Google Plus Discuss for now.
Okay, so I was like in that, and I was checking it out for like a day or two, and then I was like, oh hell no, this is just way too much crap going on, and I just I didn't mute it, I'm still in it, but I don't go there, and it's just thousands and thousands of morons, and I was like, no way. I think I said early on, I said communities are great if for small communities, like if we should have a Google Plus Week community where people can carry on this discussion, I guess. But then it's another thing. They could also just comment on the YouTube or the Google Plus post of the show. And then do we want to have to go to 17 different places to have a conversation? And then how much time do you have? So, but I still think for things like I'm in a podcasters community. I'm in a publishing professionals community. I'm in, there was a House of Cards community. I think that if it's not too big, and that becomes, then it becomes work. It should be fun and interesting and helpful.
And I disagree. I think it can be big, but you have to see how you went there expecting it to work like a normal community, when I think right now something like Google Plus Discuss is more of a hub for information, that like a call center, but not so.
I was going to agree with you with hub. I'm not so sure about call center, but I like calling it a hub. No. I think calling it a hub is a good way to put it. The problem is I think even as a hub, it falls flat on its face.
Only because there are some features that would make it a lot better, but once those small features, I still don't see the way people use it change any different. I just see it as a way to manage it better. But I don't see any change in the behavior of the people that's using it.
Michael Ellis has just joined us, and Michael Ellis, you must have been watching and knowing that we were talking about communities right now. How are you doing this evening?
Muted.
Unmute your mic.
That's how he's feeling muted.
Fix your mic. So while Michael is trying to
Muted.
figure out how to say anything,
Muty's got him speechless, I'm telling you.
Mike's mic isn't miking.
excellent. So while
I'm speech. When does that ever happen?
there we go.
I wasn't actually speechless. You just couldn't hear me.
Same thing.
It's effectively the same thing in a Hangout.
So
So I'm
we've
sorry,
been
I didn't hear what you were talking about. I was just trying to get signed in.
So we've been talking about. Actually, why are we talking about
The
communities?
change,
Darn
the
good
change
question.
settings feature.
Oh right. This
I
did
thought we
start.
were
with-
talking about photographs.
All right, you're
Yeah,
hired,
Google Plus
Jody.
Photos.
Jody's hired.
Google Plus Photos.
We were talking about communities and the new privacy management features that are coming with communities, and then we kind of segued into my usual opinion on communities.
Right.
You as a moderator and owner of a huge community, I'm kind of curious on your take for these new privacy settings. Are they going to impact you in any way?
Actually, I only got a chance to briefly see what they were even about, so I'm not sure I'm prepared to offer an opinion yet. Can somebody fill me in on what changed?
Craig could
basically-
certainly offer an opinion without any of the facts.
Well, that doesn't surprise any of us.
And then Michael would
and
many times
vigorously
agree
argue
with
the
me.
point. I'm sorry, Craig. What?
Then Michael would oftentimes agree with me.
Yeah, but only when you have.
What's that inspector comment about Craig before we go to Michael? It was he said, here we go. This is cozy, right? Inspectors, George.
I think it's funny that Google Plus Week's Mr. Spock, Craig, is the guy working the stress ball. That one?
He's supposed to have no emotions.
I just
at
had
all.
to throw, since I was
Stress
trolling
shouldn't affect
Craig,
him.
I thought I'd throw that in there. So go ahead, Michael Ellis, or Alan, give Michael Ellis the Reader's Digest version. Michael, you've missed Bug Week and Photography Week. Now we're on communities, but Alan can give you the
So we actually moved on to Google Plus Week, so I came at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
Good.
It was basically a 30-minute rant from Alan. Pretty epic,
About
too.
bugs.
You haven't seen me start to rant yet, Dan. You really haven't.
Alan knows he's like that, though, which is good. Otherwise, he'd be, certifiable. So, Alan, give Michael the 20-second version of what the hell we're talking about.
First of all, this one from yet another Michael. Are you guys, taking over the show or something here? Michael Ellis would have been here sooner, but he was hitting his photo edit button.
I saw a Craigslist ad in mountainview.craigslist, missing photo edit button, reward offered. Okay, so what's the thing, Alan, that we're talking about? Because I swear to God, I've completely forgotten it by now, and I really didn't care in the beginning, so I'm just being polite.
And I honestly didn't know, so I'm really trying to catch
Yeah, how
up.
many people in your community? What's your community, Michael?
Well, we just broke 25,300 and something today,
Good for you.
so it's pretty exciting. Yep.
And what's the community?
Sorry, language practice hangouts.
And what do you do?
We
I'm
help.
just kidding.
I know you know, but I'll tell the audience.
You do
anyway.
language practice hangouts?
Yeah, so we help people that are interested in learning to speak different languages to have an opportunity to practice with native speakers and other learners.
Now, you got into this because your firm that you work for has some German clients, and you found that while they spoke some degree of English, that if you could actually learn real German and the idiomatic nuances and things that they don't get as easily because English is so difficult. I remember my dad was talking to a German. He said, "Why is English so hard to learn?" He said, "Write this word down. 2." And my dad's like, TWO, the number, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, but like Spanish, there are no exceptions. You can hear it and write it down. I took 3 years of Spanish, and it's like they follow the rules. English is a melting pot language, I guess. And
It is.
But what are the quick question? What are the languages that are most popular for folks trying to learn it or practice? I guess English would be one.
Oh, English is by far the largest. By far.
What nationalities do you find the most people from who are
I don't
learning
have
English?
I don't have statistics on that yet, but I'm trying to build a tool that will display that interactively in a Google spreadsheet. That will show a graph of the participants, the membership, and the countries they come from. But I don't have enough knowledge of, and actually, Alan, you could probably help me with this. I don't have enough knowledge of the APIs to
So
figure out how
someone
to do that.
Actually,
to find you, they
like,
would just go
you
to
know-
language practice hangouts in Google Plus search, and they'd find you in that community.
Mike
right?
Yep.
Ellis, Mike, you have just raised an incredibly good question, and that's, can I help you with the API to access Hangout information, to access to access community
Page
information?
Yeah.
And the
community
answer is no, I can't.
Mhm.
The reason why I can't is because communities don't have an API. In fact, surprisingly enough, the API that we had used to work for communities up until about a month ago. And then they suddenly stopped working without notice.
Well, because they found out you wanted to use it.
Exactly.
Why else would they
knows?
get rid of it? That's how these things go.
I think that they're doing it just to troll Alan, because every year that's the first question Alan asks Vic.
It's
Where's
when
the
are we
right
gonna have
API?
APIs?
Where's the freaking API?
Where's the right API?
Vic
That's what
G.
he wants. Open it
and
up.
Vic gives the exact same answer. You know, so many times
Yeah,
he's so
that's
nice. So many times companies get that wrong, and then they infuriate their developer base by changes. So we wanted to get that right. And then we asked Vic,
When
you
are
know,
we
what
gonna
would you
get
do
it right?
differently? And he says, we would have started sooner. And then, you know, he's awesome. Can we talk about photos?
Yes.
So
We'll be
anyway,
talking about
Alan,
photos later again.
where are we? I don't even know where we are.
You never know where we are. Dan.
I'm completely like,
We're now up to. Well, it doesn't
It's not
help that you keep
quite a
inserting these
throwaway
funny
show,
numbers
but
in the
it's like-
in the show notes. However, we're now an hour into the show when we've finally gotten past our Google Plus topics.
oops, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing there. I don't know if
Oh,
that's,
I came in for the one Google Plus topic we covered.
for
We
people who
covered
want,
three other
for
Google
anyone in the
Plus
panel,
topics.
every time I have hotkeys to switch shots, and that's the reason you see these weird numbers appear in the doc. Like if I go to 1, that's me. 2, that's me and Alan.
Yeah,
3, that's
we
just
know.
Alan.
We know, Dan.
Jody doesn't know, and she's nice and
Jo-
sweet.
Jody's not here.
And she's
Jody's not here anymore.
oh, she left.
Should be back.
Okay, because she's gonna change into her outfit to hang upside down on the thing, right?
No, she said she was going to TWC.
To where?
Women's changing room.
Okay.
Next topic.
Next topic.
So the next topic we had is Google turned 15. Then
Wow.
That's kind of exciting, isn't it?
I think so.
You know,
You
I
look-
first heard about Google from my sister, Alan. I was doing
Why
a Yahoo-
doesn't this shock us at all?
I was gonna do another dig. I'm gonna start jotting these down.
You put it in the next book.
Yeah, my sister's book. Did I say that out loud? 5 stars on Amazon, 23 reviews, very affordable. You'll fall off your chair laughing.
It's hilarious. I can attest to that.
Yeah, you read the book, right?
It's hilarious. I'm going to read it a second time and share it with my sister.
And
With
no,
my sister, who, by the way, is just as funny as your sister.
they should.
They should meet.
Yeah. It's on Amazon. It's not on Play yet, but you can get it for the Kindle. You can get the physical book, and it's cheap and it's funny. And there's a hysterical, embarrassing chapter about me. Have you read the part about me, Alan? Craig
I've not
did.
yet read the part about you.
I'm gonna send that. I'll send that to you. It's really embarrassing. And
It's very
Michael,
funny.
it's more than a nickel now.
I paid much more than a nickel for it.
No, I mean the chapter
But-
about me when I got
Oh,
in trouble for
I see.
5 cents.
Okay.
Yeah, so inflation has kicked in. Okay, so
right.
Google. I remember.
forgot
So
about
I
that.
was gonna Yahoo. I was doing a Yahoo search, and everyone who's read the book is laughing hysterically, and no one else has any
Because
clue
now
what
I
the
just
hell we're talking.
remembered what you were talking about.
Yeah. So I was doing naughty things and charging a nickel for it. And that's all I'll say. And I was like 3 years old, so I don't even remember. All right, so Google's 15. Someone's got their mouse on there. I can't see it. Anonymous kangaroo. What is up with these things that they do?
Good Lord, Dan! We covered this on the show months ago.
That
And
was
you
so
thought it
months
good
ago.
Then.
Let's blame your panel.
Have they fixed the photo edit feature? So anyway, I'm trying to get through this sentence. For our last remaining viewer, just kidding. But so I was going to do a Yahoo thing, and my sister's like, nobody Yahoos anymore. They Google. And so I tried this crazy Google search engine. And if you want to see what it looked like, what you can do is you can go to what the hell am I doing here?
We've been
We
wondering that
often
for
wonder.
months, Dan.
Okay, so you can go to archive.org, right? And you can go to google.com, type it in the search thing, and hit go. You in the Hangout can't see this, but I'm sharing my screen. And then you can go back. The first was, looks like activity was 98. And you can see when they've done a, the first appearance will be, I guess, was November 11, 1998.
Mhm.
And we'll click on that, and that'll bring it up. again, I'm on archive.org. I just type google.com. And here we go. Welcome to Google. Google search engine prototype. Might work some of the time. Prototype that is much more up to date. Click there. So let's go back and let's look at how it looked on December 2nd. And
So,
I mean, these were two
presumably
kids in
this,
college, right, at Stanford. Go ahead, Anthony. Here we go. The first
Presumably
Google
this,
logo.
This 15 years old date is from when they launched at Stanford, not when they launched the domain name, right?
Well, 98.
I'm not
I
sure.
mean,
Hang on.
it's September 6th, 2013. So if you go back to September 6th, yeah, it looks like it's not really 15 yet because Google.com didn't, yeah, it must have been a
According to Google's company page, September 1988, Google files for incorporation in California on September 4th. Shortly thereafter, Larry and Sergey opened a bank account in the newly established company's name and deposited the first check they got for $100,000.
That sounds like Craig's income.
So there you have it, September 4th.
So
Who
there's
gave
Google.
them $100,000 2 days after they opened a bank account?
It's really
Actually, they gave him the $100,000 the month before. It was Andy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name.
Andy Rubin.
A rich guy.
Bechtolsheim. Bechtolsheim.
It's interesting, Alan. At the beginning, they had an exclamation.
Sun co-founder Andy Bechtolsheim. And I'm not even going to try to say it again.
You're from New York, Alan. You should know all those names. So anyway, I'm looking. It's initially it was Google exclamation point because I guess their main competition was Yahoo exclamation point, right? That's interesting. I didn't know that, or I'd forgotten that.
Mhm.
This logo is pretty ghetto, but Yahoo's new logo is pretty ghetto.
Can you share it on your screen, Dan?
It's they're looking at it.
Oh, they are.
I can't
Okay.
share it to you guys because it's a separate Hangout thing.
So sorry.
You're on a video call and it's on a separate computer. It's piped in, but they could see it. But just go to archive.org, type google.com in the search, and go back to 98, 99. You'll see it. Initially, it was just text, but the colors are the same, I think, right? Blue, red, yellow, blue, green.
All the colors.
Yeah, RGB and Y. So anyway.
Dan, our users are concerned about you. Andrew thinks you need a sugar boost. He recommends a Kit Kat bar.
I only have one left because I ate two. I bought 3 of them for the Android show. I've just gotten so bored. Because we've been talking about really boring topics. So I was like,
And Dan, whose show is it again?
yeah, but
how many
it's
viewers
pretty
do we have
democratic.
So I just want to let you know that Google's official birthday might be the 7th or the 4th or whatever you want to call it, but the last 2 years they've celebrated it on my birthday, which is the 27th.
Interesting.
We'll have to get Larry on.
I'm sure that you could figure out like 15 different birthdays for Google, depending on where you want to start counting it from.
Yeah.
When
Dan,
they
did
came
you
up
say it
with the
was-
theory, or.
98 or what year? What year should I look at?
98's the first. Look at the second one on 98, and you'll see the. Just
The
play
November
around with it. It's
11th.
kind of neat to look and see how it's slightly progressed.
Y'all better off asking how
The
many
logo's slightly different, but it's interesting
as a
that they had.
sailor, I must say to the Army guy, he must be bored because Michael is listing to port.
I thought it was aft. I thought he was aft.
I'm
Not
sorry.
really
It's
listing.
actually to starboard, isn't it?
He's-
Port is his right.
The Army guy. That's awesome.
No, port is his left.
Oh, my dad always said port wine was red, and that stood for okay. All right.
Well, also remember
I'm
that
not a Navy guy either, though. So
I could text
I
my
wasn't- I
dad, but
don't
he's
really think-
probably reading Drudge
Was
Report.
I actually listing, or you mean Michael Banks, not Michael
I'm
Ellis?
Michael Banks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Army.
okay. Got it.
I could call my dad, but I'm afraid I'd interrupt either the O'Reilly rerun or Hannity or Drudge Report or something that he's watching.
Something Fox News.
Something.
And anyway,
Good for him.
The other birthday this week for Google is that the Google Chrome browser turns 5.
5 years for Chrome. Yay. I love Chrome.
It's number one now, right?
It's been number one.
How long? Less than a
long
year.
time.
Even Craig Ship uses it.
Alan doesn't, apparently.
Okay,
Right.
so he's on. I don't even know who else. Oh, what am I doing? Whoa. Who else? Okay, Craig's still here. Bruce is here. Anthony's here. Alan will come back, and we got Michael and Michael.
And Pam,
We got
I'm
the
here.
army guy.
Yoo-hoo.
We got the army guy and the crazy thong lady. Okay, so I guess we'll change topics. Next up, the photo edit button is back.
What?
I'm joking. Okay, so where'd Alan go? Is he coming back? I bet he's rebooting his
Can
little.
we talk about photos a little more? I don't think we went into enough.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Alan says he's locked out of the Hangout.
Craig blocked them.
How? Are
Bug.
you serious?
I
Oh, we'll
he-
have to go back to our bug
He's messaged me and
topic.
said, "WTF? I'm locked out of the Hangout."
How could he be?
Who has him blocked?
You are not allowed to join this video call. Try inviting me.
Who
Can
has
can
him
someone
blocked?
invite him? Because I can't. It's.
I'm-
Well,
I'm gonna
maybe
try.
I can. I can.
Somebody just send him the URL.
This is crazy.
It's
I can
It's
message
not-
him the URL on Facebook. Is he my Facebook friend?
See, he's obviously some Google person is like, you've trolled for the
It won't
last
let me
time.
but
send
I
him an
can't
invite.
I can't invite him because it's not in the Hangouts.
I sent it to him.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's like the
Okay.
I don't have the invite.
I sent it to him.
Okay, I'm gonna invite him as well, just to see if I actually invite him as the owner. Maybe that'll. What kind of crazy ass thing is that?
It
Rick-
usually does it if somebody blocks him.
Well, nobody
Yeah,
has
you-
blocked Alan.
And you started the Hangout from an apps account this time, right?
Correct.
That means that there are limitations
There you
about
go.
who can invite him.
In other words, I need to circle. Like I had to circle him.
No, it doesn't have nothing.
What
He's back.
limitations are there? Because like right now, I am.
There's a limitation about inviting someone who's outside your domain, your Google Apps domain,
Which would be
and-
everybody.
which would be all of us, right? So only you really can invite people to the Hangout.
But initially, I just did a post
With the URL.
with the
And lost
URL,
him
and Alan's gone again.
Well,
Okay.
if somebody has the URL, can't they get in? Period, unless they're blocked.
No.
It says that he's locked out.
It was telling me that even with the URL, I was locked out.
Yeah, I think because Dan has to invite you because he
But
started
I
this
didn't. I
Hangout
didn't invite any of
today.
you guys, Michael. You came in, right? I just did a private Google Plus post,
and gave me
and
the
then
URL.
I said, "Hey, here's the join link."
Yeah,
That's how you got in. So this
That
is
is
a
how I got
bug
in.
because
but when
every
you
s-
created the Hangout, did you invite anyone?
the only person I invited was myself. I joined as my WCR TV Google Apps account. That's how I went in. So we could have 15 people if necessary, and then I invited Dan McDermott at my Gmail address, which is my main profile with the blue picture, and then I got the URL that way on the other computer that I'm streaming on now, which Alan affectionately refers to as my $300 computer. And then I did a Google Plus post from my main Dan McDermott account to the panel
Right.
and said, hey, here's the join link. So all of you guys just clicked on the link from outer space and came in. Nobody was invited except me.
So the way it usually works, if you're on an apps account and you do an internal apps hangout, then no one can get it into it by joining through the stream because it won't even show up in our stream. Now, if you share the link, anyone can join.
But how come
There-
Alan
there are
couldn't? That's what
few
Alan was
very-
trying to do.
There are a few rare instances where you can't join, but anyone
Alan,
can join.
finally, after 2+ years, we found a Google Plus bug.
That's
I
not really a
know.
bug.
And on the show where we're talking about bugs, no less.
Back to bug week, and then photos.
actually, where is it? No, we're still like 2 more away from our next photo topic.
Oh my God!
Dan,
I'm gonna
this has
get my
happened to me, though.
357 Magnum. If there's a
I
guy that's
can-
loaded.
Why aren't you drinking? Why don't you just drink on Fridays? I mean, how much worse could it possibly be?
I'm gonna have some RC instead of Diet Right, because I was all excited that the bug that was flying around my face was gone. I was like, how cool! It just left. And then I looked at my Diet Right, and I was like, ah.
So that's the
now,
word
if
I
You can't
missed
just
before I
fish it
got here.
out?
If it drank the Diet Right and it died, then that should tell you something.
It should, yeah, but it doesn't. It never tells any of those soda drinkers that.
You say that in a degrading manner. Those soda drinkers, like
Michael
I
and
meant it
Greg
that-
are
those
agreeing
hippies.
again.
those
They
freaking.
actually pay money to drink poison. Can you imagine that?
I know
It's $1 for
crazy.
2 liters. I mean, it's not much.
People have drunk. I will say, people have drunk wine for thousands of years. This is not poison. This is
Yeah.
health food.
Michael, have you had mead? I'm trying to get Craig. Craig has beehives and goats, adding to the
Oh,
allure of Craig. I'm trying to get him to take some of that raw
yeah,
honey and make
from it.
mead, and tell him, have you had mead? And tell him, if so, tell him how awesome it is.
I haven't had it yet, and it's one of my top items to try because I'm a big wine aficionado, as some of you know.
Yes, we've seen you literally fall asleep during the show, so we.
Oh, that's
We-
just mean.
It's accurate.
But
It's
true.
bitingly accurate. At least Pam
Oh.
stays awake. I mean, she
Over
gets
and
kind of.
yeah, yeah, because my beer only has 8%, 7%.
Sometimes you're on with like a. It can't possibly be legal amount of alcohol in a beer. Like in some states, it's
They
legal.
don't make fortified beer like they do fortified wine.
That's
you know?
But have you had
That's
have you
true.
had mead,
There's
Pam?
no MD 2020
Here you
beer.
go, Pam.
You know?
Have you
Link
had
with
have
me.
you had mead, Pam?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so any of our viewers overseas or whatever, who have had
Or from
mead,
the
because it's for
200
whatever
years ago
reason,
here.
it's not that popular in the United States. And a local wine shop carried it for a while, and I bought lots of it, and I gave a bottle to my mom. Said, "Got to try this," and you can get like dry or really sweet mead. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have problems, like if wine, if you go on a bender, Michael, and you wake up in the middle of the night because the grape, the wine affects you,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have any of that because there's no grape juice in mead, right? It's honey.
Right.
Basically, it's honey,
Right.
yeast, and some stuff in water, and you ferment it
water.
just like wine. And that was the original wine. And then they discovered you could grow more grapes. We're losing all of our listeners now, or viewers, but you could grow
This is not a
more.
lot.
Maybe,
about
maybe
Google
all the
Plus.
panel too.
Yeah, you could only have so many bees per acre and raise so much honey per acre, but you could have more grape fields per acre, right? So it was more efficient. That's why the
Oh, more-
switch. But like in Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, in that era, two fantasy eras, but in the Middle Ages, mead was more popular. So if anyone wants to comment to Craig about
And
why
Thomas
he should
Jefferson
use some of
was
his,
a big fan of mead.
yeah. So
Mhm.
if any of you guys want to help me convince Craig to use some of that honey to make mead, please do so, because I think he should. He's got beehives, so why not try it? And imagine, I mean, Craig is so crazy sober. Imagine how much more wonderful and trolling he would be if he was a little tipsy on mead during the show. So anyway, I digress. But after suffering through 2 hours of
You
bugs and
digress?
photos,
Shocking.
yeah, I
How
don't.
do you know?
I don't take Ritalin. I
no,
should.
Dan, let me ask you something. Are you a member of the mead community on Google Plus?
No, but I will join. And
Is
I'll.
there one?
How about the homing pigeon fan club? Are you a member of that?
No, but I bet Mike Tyson is, because he was in that hangout with Maria, right? Isn't that weird? Mike Tyson like bites ears off people, back in the day when he was, "Rrr." And
He doesn't
now
do that every day. He's only done it once. I mean, give the guy a break. He only did it
Okay,
once.
so he bit someone's ear off and he got a tattoo on his face. Those are
I'm-
the only two things that he's done, right?
I'm not a bank robber. I only did it once.
It's
Um,
not a habit.
Well, we continue to digress.
Even Craig doesn't have anything to say about that.
So
He's
the-
just like,
the
what
edit
the
option for
F
photos
are
is
we
back.
doing?
all right. So anyway, after I've kicked prisoner out of another bug. Shocking. Meandering topics. Yeah, Alan is ruthless when he does this. Okay, so this is exciting. Tell us.
You ask me to keep time. This is what you get, dude.
Hey, I'll take it. Free labor, worth what you paid for it. All right, so
Says the newspaper man.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, so
Who gives away his newspaper?
exact. Oh, that was another. That's three. Wait, let me get my pen. That's 3 digs.
That was a good dig, though.
Yeah.
At least he still has a newspaper to give away.
Right.
My newspaper is okay.
Lord.
Dan, we've got to no. Before we
No.
go
I'm
on,
going to defend myself. The newspapers in
segue
Warren
here.
County are Warren County Report, the Warren Sentinel, the Northern Virginia Daily, the Winchester Star, the Washington Post, and my paper is bigger than all of those others combined in Warren
Washington
County.
Post.
2 to 1, as far as circulation in the county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pam,
I am
wanna-
basically
I
Disney
want you to
World, and
record
they
that
can
Dan
fit.
just said mine is bigger than theirs.
That's right. All
See,
of
this
them
is going to be
combined.
another. Ellis is going to be. We got
So
about an
my
hour left with
speculation was
Ellis
right,
before he's
Michael.
asleep on that couch.
But
My
bigger
earlier
than all of them
speculation was right.
combined.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to lower expectations, Pam.
Right.
But as I've said before, one night with
Well,
me.
I just figured, you were offering 5 cents for it before. I figured I'd give you $5 because it's probably bigger by now.
It's definitely and Pam. All I'll say is this: just private to Pam. Everyone else, close your ears. One night with me, you'd be following me around with a mattress strapped to your back. Okay, so ground is broken.
No, Dan, I gotta introduce this segue. We talk about all of these digs that I've been giving you, but in fact, digging is an actual story this week. Ground has been broken on the expanded Kirtland campus.
Alan mercifully changes the topics to our next topic. So go ahead and I did not actually read this one because I didn't add this or see it. But I know that Chi Chu, who's been a guest several times on our program, I actually tried to get him last week, but he was going to be in an airplane. He is known as the main Hangout guy, but he's actually a vice president at Google, and he's the base commander, whatever you want to call it, the site director in Kirkland. He's in charge of the whole Kirkland operation, which is expanding, and I think expanding in a big way. So go ahead. Was that Alan who just left?
He's
Alan's
back.
back.
Okay, so go ahead, Alan, and you want to give us a synopsis of what we're talking about here with the Kirkland facility? I know Hangouts are there. What else is there, and what are they doing? It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. I mean, this is basically opening up some more space for more engineering staff. Kirkland, the 2 big projects at Kirkland are Hangouts, and that's not just the video chat stuff, although it includes the video chat stuff. It's also all of the text chats, all of that real-time component that's going on. And the other big project there is Chrome. Not so much Chrome OS as I understand it, but the actual Chrome and
browser.
Chromium projects are run out of the Kirkland office.
Mm-hmm.
So how much bigger? I think when I read it, it was a dramatic increase, right? I mean, it was like
It was
doubling the
significant.
size and doubling the employees. It was like because the local paper and the local mayor were there for ribbon cutting, and they were all excited about the new jobs, right?
It is pretty significant. I believe it will be making it it'll either be boosting it into the second largest compound, or bringing it up into the 3rd largest, or increasing its size to the 3rd largest. Currently, the largest one is in Mountain View. Mountain View still dominates every place else, and their New York City offices are truly massive. And they have a huge number of people in the New York City offices. And I don't remember if this is actually going to increase the employee count or the square footage greater than the New York ones. But I know that if not greater than, it's certainly going to bring it close.
Chi's basically a godlike figure now. Once
Well,
it done
he
with
always
this.
was. But
Okay, so that's awesome. So good for them. Good for Kirkland, for the local community. What's the reason that they are doing so much in Washington State? It's very near California. Is it they ran out of real estate, or they just?
Well, no. The biggest reason why, Kirkland, we have to remember, is it's basically a suburb of Seattle. And we have to remember there was this other tech company up in the Seattle area for a while.
Rackspace.
You may have heard of
Also a
them.
suburb, I think, right?
Yeah. You may have heard of them.
Redmond, I think it is.
Yeah, Redmond. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
as
M starts with an M, I think.
yeah, those guys, Nokia, right?
Yeah.
So
M.
as
M is in Mary.
I think it's Microsoft, which is a small division of Nokia now. I think.
That's right. That's the one.
Yeah.
so as they've been kind of losing their employees, have been leaving them in droves.
So it's
Google's
easier
been
to
there
poach
pick them up.
employees if they're right there locally.
What about T-Mobile?
To be fair, there are a bunch of other tech. I mean, Boeing is in the area as well. There are other tech companies.
Well,
there,
there's a
but-
lot of tech companies in the area because of Microsoft.
Well, there were a lot of tech companies in the area before Microsoft too.
Also, there's
But that-
probably
that-
infrastructure. I mean, on a larger scale, if you think about it, like Craig Ship and I, we have this website thing, and if Craig, if you were going to relocate to a new area, you would absolutely have to look at what kind of cell phone services there, what kind of internet is available. Is it, DSL, or is it FiOS or Comcast? Are there maybe is there an industrial corridor where that might be even like super fast internet available? And then when you're Google, it's an even bigger deal. You've got to know, like, can you get terabits of data throughput there? And do you have the worker base that's educated? The local colleges have good training programs, all that stuff you think about. And so if Microsoft is there and these other companies, Microsoft, of course, is the creator of the Windows RT, the Surface RT tablet that was a big hit with the Seattle landfill.
You say
And one or two other products.
Right. So anyway,
ahead,
so yeah,
Michael.
it's a big deal. So I could see that, what you're saying, Alan.
Yeah, so it's certainly to tap into the talent that is available up there, and Google likes having diversity of location. They've got technology and engineering offices all over the world, so it makes sense for them to be in some place besides Mountain View.
This must have been. It makes sense to me, at least, that this would have been modeled after IBM in the way that they've had locations spread throughout the world, so that they get engineering talent collected in small pools around the world, and they can pit them as quasi competitors against one another.
I'm not sure how much of that there is. I think one of the things that it's an interesting point. I actually think the analogy to IBM's method of operations makes some sense. The difference, however, is I think Google is, instead of leveraging them as competitors to each other, and I don't think they are, mostly because I think many of Google's groups keep forgetting each other exists.
They don't acknowledge each other as
Right.
competitors, even. Yeah.
Right. I think it's more to take advantage of diversity of time. So, for example, the Hangout team tends to be located in Kirkland and Stockholm. So you've got a wider range
I
of
see.
coverage to actually get things done in terms of time. So you can hand off from Stockholm to Kirkland.
So they can have 24-hour work time going on all the time, then,
Yeah,
essentially.
Not
Yeah.
quite, but
Yeah, we can tell they got 24 hours. That's why they do their maintenance Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern time every single time they do it. They're 24 hours, all right.
Troll Craig
No,
is
we don't
troll.
we
Is
don't
that
know
how,
that
is that
YouTube's
how you
doing
say
this,
it?
but yeah, excellent point, Craig.
That's a good point.
They're deliberately targeting our Android show. You know what I mean?
But we do see I know that a lot of the
Live and
groups
hangout10.com. Absolutely.
I do know that a lot of the groups have both a U.S. and a separate European component, and several of them have an Asian component as well. And you do get that kind of diversity like it.
One thing that I just always baffled me is whenever we see a new product or something, other than Hangouts being the exception, you never really hear something starting from a different office other than Mountain View.
Sure, you do. They
That's-
don't. Lots of products that we take for granted are not run out of the Mountain View
That's-
office.
I'm talking about created.
Are not created out of the Mountain View office either.
Major products?
Drive,
Oh.
Maps.
Oh, that's pretty major.
Maps started out of the New York office. Drive currently is
Dots or Drive?
Drive.
The big question I have is which office developed the photos capability?
Photo edit button.
Picasa, they bought it.
And yeah, if you, yeah, maybe Microsoft should buy some stuff since they can't.
Michael,
Do
as
anything.
another example, Google Keep came out of the Australian office, one of the Australian offices.
Didn't the last thing that came out of Australia was Wave?
I believe the entire Wave team was in Australia. You're correct.
Okay.
I like that parallel.
Yeah.
But there is stuff that comes out of the other offices, just that everyone kind of assumes they come out of California because a lot of the publicity and support teams are there. But even that's not true. I mean, there's a huge support office in Dublin, as we know, because Moritz shows up
Because
every so
Mort's is from
often.
there. Yeah.
They get a lot of the heat because the money, a lot of the money is kept overseas because the U.S. actually has one of the highest corporate tax rates in the world.
Correct.
And so I
Because we're
see these.
anti-business here.
I mean, it's just like you see Carnival Cruise Lines and they say ships registry is in Bahamas or Liberia.
Uh-oh. What's next? What's next topic?
But the one of the things that's good for other countries, but it's good that we're in a technologically advanced areas because the immigration laws in the United States are crazy, and that's one thing about the only thing that I agree with Mark Zuckerberg on is that if you have someone, if you can't fill a job in the United States and you want to get someone from Switzerland or Australia or Istanbul or wherever, and you want to bring them to Mountain View, you can't because there's like a limit of how many can come in a year and all this crazy stuff.
Yep.
And that's a big, I guess it's an I-9. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah.
The I-9
So then
visa.
what you do instead is open an office in another country.
Exactly, and that's how Hangout
And-
started. And that's a story we've covered many times. But they had a video thing using video
Makes
VIDYO
perfect sense.
technology with Stockholm, and then when Sergey asked Chi to come up with something because Chi used to run Talk, or was running Talk at the time, and he said, I want to have some kind of instant messaging for Google Plus, and he said, well, I can do you better. Why don't we do it video and using this stuff we're doing with our thing in Stockholm, and they did it real quick. Like the first one was just a few hours away. Chi flew back to Kirkland, and Vic and others were in the hangout with like 30 people, and so that's how it started. But yeah, they get a lot of heat for the money offshore stuff, but really, if they would reform our corporate tax rates and the I-9 visa program, a
Yep.
lot of that would be unnecessary. They would love nothing more than to be able to bring that back into the U.S., but it's the fault of the laws. Go ahead, Alan.
We have this comment from Kevin. What's with the super digressions from Dan? He must be sipping on some scissor.
What the hell is that? What's scissor? I don't know what scissor is.
I don't know either.
In this
I
case,
want to have a Kit Kat.
Dan is right. We should bring the smartest people in the world here to the U.S. Anybody that wants to come here, if they're the smartest, if they're in the top
Absolutely right.
like 1%, we should allow them to come here. Why not?
That's
Why
what
not?
made America great,
That's right.
We're not. I'm not a Navajo. You're not a Cherokee. It was the best and brightest from every country in the world.
It probably wasn't really the best and brightest. It was most determined and most committed to building a new life for their families.
Which means the most entrepreneurial. That's our strength.
Yes, that's our
the
strength.
key. And
They
we
weren't all
cut
the
that off
smartest
now.
people. They don't need to be the smartest.
Now you can
people.
get in from the
Well,
south and the
no,
north.
they don't have to be the smartest people now because they have all of us to test
They-
their crap.
They never needed to be the smartest people. It was never about the smartest people. That was my point.
It was the most ambitious, the strongest.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And
The
people
ones
who
that
wanted
were
to
most
stake
oppressed
out.
in other parts of the world came here because they saw an opportunity to craft their own lives for their own destinies.
And we have the cream of the crop, I think, from every country in the world.
Yep.
And then we cut that off at some point. And now it's geography. If you're south of us or north of us, you can sneak in, but if and you can wait tables.
Although there's not a lot of Canadians trying to sneak in, honestly.
Well, I'm trying to be diplomatic here. But if you and then you work in a restaurant or do crops, right? And that's another thing. I mean, I don't know how many suburban American kids here, and then I'll shut up. You guys talked for like an hour, and I was ready to go to sleep about photos, and I can't get on some
Wait,
substantive topic.
do you want to know what Scissorp is?
I do. Definitely I do.
Maybe I don't. I don't know.
They made a song about
Well,
it.
I'm a little afraid, but I want to know anyway.
They made a song about it in the 90s.
It's codeine.
I'm not on drugs. I swear to God.
Promethazine with codeine syrup or any flavored soda. I think they mean the codeine though. Pretty sure they mean the codeine.
The
I'm
codeine
not
is
on
key.
codeine. You people. You people. Okay. So anyway,
So anyway,
Moving along.
we have this quote from Inspector. The takeaway Google Plus Week quote. I digress.
when George Cozy's trolling you, you're in trouble.
So,
All right. So we'll move
our host is is hosting from the bathroom.
on. All right.
But-
So
but-
next up,
Next up is a topic that I want to get to before Craig falls asleep. And this is one of the big items that was out this week, hardware-wise, is that Sony has released a camera lens without a camera to attach to. And I don't know if you've been following this yet, Craig. We've talked about it a little bit on our Android Week, which is the show that's supposed to air every Monday night, but instead airs every Tuesday night.
The last couple weeks.
right.
Where we've kind of looked at this, and it's a kind of clever device from Sony, where it's essentially looks like a camera lens. It comes with an attachment to let you clip it onto your cell phone, but it also comes with a universal mount to mount it onto a tripod. It works completely independently of a phone, but it also has some great additional features when you do pair it with an iOS or Android phone. I don't know if you've taken a look at this yet. Have you?
Craig, real quick, in talking about this, explain. This is based on
We'll get
their
to it.
$600 point and shoot. That's the quality you're getting, and then explain why this is cool, or whatever you think about it, Craig.
Well,
Yeah,
real
it's
quick,
got the same sensor. Go ahead,
what
Pam.
is it? What is it? It's just a lens.
Well, here's the thing. It looks like it's a lens, but what it really is, it is a lens and a slot for a memory card.
It's got a battery in it. It's got
It
a
ha-
sensor.
It has a battery. It's got the actual sensor in
So it's a
it.
camera.
So it is the camera.
It has
It
no
has-
screen.
It has no screen, so you've got no way to look at it and focus it. The screen is your cell phone.
So you really can't use it independent of a cell phone.
So it's an eye camera, like a Google camera, or
the
instead
idea
of Google
is-
Glass, it's the remote.
The theory is, Pam, that you get more for your money because you're not having to pay for the operating system and all of that stuff in this lens. Okay, you've already got that on your cell phone, right? So you're utilizing that to control it and all, which is, in theory, is an interesting concept. I would have to use the thing. First of all, the sensor.
Well, maybe
is pretty
Sony will
small.
send you one, just to
Yeah,
test out.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, the sensor's pretty small. I would want one with an APS-C size sensor. They don't have that yet. If they came out with that, then we might be talking about something that would be worthwhile. But the way I look at it, if I'm not going to have at least an APS-C size sensor, I'll just go ahead and use my iPhone. It takes pretty good pictures. If I want good pictures or really good pictures, I'm going to use something with an APS-C size sensor or even a full-frame sensor. I just think this isn't quite there yet.
How does the sensor size compare to
It's
They-
considerably smaller. It's the same sensor as they have in their high-end point and shoot. I think it's called the RX100. I think that's the model. I think it's about a 1-inch square sensor, but it's considerably smaller than an APS-C.
Do we
size
know? I mean,
sensor.
I'm going to try to get that chart that we talked about
Yeah, and
before.
it takes pretty good pictures. That point and shoot takes pretty good pictures, but again, you're not.
What's it
gonna get
based on? The point and
performance.
shoot again, Craig?
RX100, I think, is the model.
Okay.
And not to be confused with the RX1, which is their compact camera that actually has a full frame sensor in it. I mean, that thing is pretty amazing that they got a full frame sensor in that small body. But the RX100, by all accounts, takes good pictures for a point and shoot. But again, if I'm going to take the step from having to carry something extra with me and having to hook it onto my cell phone and go to all that trouble, I want some really good quality there.
Do you necessarily need to hook it on to your cell phone, or
No,
could you
that's
just?
the other benefit is you could mount it on something, like let's say you want it up high, you want a different angle of view, and yet you want to be able to stand down on the ground and look at what it's seeing, right?
Right,
Yes,
right.
you can be, they say in the ideal conditions, 30 feet away. So it has to be relatively close to the cell phone, but it doesn't have to be right on it. So that does open up some interesting possibilities. But again, why not have this thing be a really good lens? And yes, the price point would be higher. See, that's the problem. The fine line they're trying to walk here. They're trying to keep it affordable, but see, you got to have a battery in there. You've got to have the sensor.
Is this
you've
a
got to have the
4/3?
memory
What is
card.
this? I mean, what? It says Exmor CMOS sensor. It doesn't tell us exactly what.
You
Well,
don't see the dimensions there. There's
I'm trying
probably
to.
a
I'm
chart.
trying to look this up so folks can see.
I'm looking at the B&H webpage on the subject, and it reports it as a 1/2.3 inch Exnor R BSI CMOS sensor, delivering 18.2 megapixels.
Yeah, the megapixels is a meaningless number.
Right.
That's-
Right, Craig. That's why I listed the
Yeah.
1/2.3 inch first.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
And
I-
so what we need is a chart comparing that to an APS-C, but an APS-C is significantly larger. And that, for me, is the smallest sensor I want. I wouldn't even go to micro four thirds.
I was going to ask how this compared to a micro four
I think it's small. It's smaller than a micro four thirds. And I don't even want that size. I want the APS-C. Dan, is that a chart somebody has up?
I'm trying to find it. I'm looking for that chart.
Okay.
Michael Banks has one up.
Okay, let's go to Michael. Michael, say something so you pop up.
The APS-C sensor is the red and blue one, for those that can see it. The Micro Four Thirds is the green one in the middle. I'm not sure which one, that one. I don't know if it's Micro Four Thirds or what it is. It's probably Micro Four Thirds, because I don't know anyone that use less than that.
Well,
It's-
this says it's a 1/2.3 inch.
Holy crap! That's the pink one.
Okay, so
I don't
So
see
it's
the key
like
though, Michael.
1/9 of an APS-C sensor.
What's the price point on it?
Okay,
Um,
there's two. It's 250.
Too much.
It's $250.
Too much.
Or it's for.
Way too much.
what's the model number for the more expensive one, Dan?
I've got it on my screen. It's okay. The QX100. It's on Amazon, and I posted it earlier, but then they deleted it and then they put it back. It was during the event, so it's $500 for the DSC, the QX100 smartphone attachable lens style camera. It's actually a camera in itself, right? And then
Yeah, the QX100 has a 1-inch sensor.
so these
1
are
inch?
nowhere near an APS-C or full frame.
If it's 1 inch, then it's close to APS-C. If it's 1 inch.
That's what it says about the QX100.
What is the dimension of a APS-C?
APS-C.
Put up the chart again, Michael.
Oh, here's another one. This one's probably better. If it's
Keep
1
talking
inch,
so
it's
it
right
stays up.
under 4/3. It's between 4/3 and 2/3. So 4/3 is like the one right under APS-C, and that's over 1 inch. So it's less than that one, but more than 2/3.
Well, that says two. Okay, that's 2/3. That's not 1/2/3, right?
No,
Right.
I didn't say 1/. No, I said 1/2.3 inch. That's way down. See down at the bottom where it's 1/2.5 inch?
inches. Okay. So yeah, it's way, way, way down there.
Right. However, the other one, that's the QX10. QX10? Yeah, that's the QX10. If we're talking the QX100, that is a 1-inch XNOR R BSI CMOS sensor delivering 20.2 megapixels.
And that's in between the 4/3 and the 2/3.
So that is at least better, but it's still not APS-C.
No. And you can get APS-C like point and
Yeah.
shoot.
Look, I mean, you look at it says this is 1/2.3 inches, right?
Hmm.
Alan?
The QX10 is, Dan, yes.
Yeah. So this is like tiny, tiny, tiny sensor compared to APS-C. But you know, the proof is in the pudding, right? We'll have to see what the pictures actually look like, and if you can get any depth of field, shallow depth of field, because that's a big thing that Craig
Well,
wants.
Sort of, and then also you gotta look at the freaking megapixels. Sort of. That depends on how big you want the photo to actually be.
Now, Craig, it is. I mean, it's a Carl Zeiss thing, right? Isn't it?
Sensor size is just the ability to catch light. So I mean, the bigger the sensor, the more light it can catch.
Yeah, Carl Zeiss just refers to, in general, the quality of the optics.
Right, but it's
No.
it's a good
That's why I
quality,
said in general. I mean,
low
Yeah,
end.
No, I'm talking about that. I'm like, they're not the same thing, man. The sensor,
Okay, the $500 one is the Carl Zeiss, and that is
That's
here.
also the 1-inch sensor.
So it's a 1-inch sensor, but I don't see. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. You know, there will be demos. There'll be side by sides. Like I'd love to see a comparison of this versus the NEX7 with
not even close.
good glass on it. And I agree
Maybe
with Michael.
closer.
It's not even close. It'd be like comparing an iPhone to you know,
A Motorola Razr.
a Canon 1D, I think. So, but also, and it's $500. Really, it's only $100 less than
Too much.
the point and shoot that it's trying to emulate. So I'm not sure. Maybe this was
Terrible concept.
like, remember how excited we were when they first announced the Surface, and I thought, you know, it might go somewhere, and then it
Well-
turned out to be a complete disaster. And
Wait, who was excited about the Surface?
I thought it was a good idea when they first
theory.
announced
Okay,
it.
so that's one person. So
I think
where's
several
the
of us
rest
were.
of the we?
I was skeptical.
I just, I didn't. I mean, that was before I hated Microsoft for their lies about Google, their Scroogled campaign,
Right.
which I think is just disingenuous at best. So, okay, so Craig's going to rush out and buy one of these and can give us a full report in a future episode, right?
Craig's not.
Greg
here.
has, in fact, already left to do exactly that.
He's in the
Exactly.
car now.
Okay. So, should we switch to this NSA topic?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, so
Please.
NSA cracks web encryption, comma, space, betrays the internet. I'm not surprised by this at all. I think anyone who is surprised by this is naive. You could be pissed, but I mean,
Really?
again,
Why aren't
the
you-
only thing I'm going to say, then you guys can say whatever you want to say. We all get upset when we find out that the government can find us when we're, you know, snooping out a porn site or whatever you're doing, cheating on your wife, whatever thing you're doing that you don't want anybody to know about, and they may know about that and like, oh no. At the same time, nobody was bitching when they caught the Boston Marathon bomber.
Okay,
within hours.
Dan, stop right there. Can I just ask you to stop using that as an example?
I think it's a good example. Why
No,
is it
it's
a bad
horrible
example?
example. Do you want to know why it's a horrible example?
Sure.
Because they caught the Boston bomber using absolutely and totally traditional techniques.
So they say.
The guy was crawling out of a boat, bleeding. Pretty freaking, and that's how they caught him. That
But
is
there
how
was
they
the
caught him.
initial thing in the shootout. The whole, but I think it's a legit. What in God's name is that?
It wasn't me trolling you this time. It was anyway.
What is that
Didn't come
picture?
from
What does
here.
it say? Are you still there? Oh God, I've got to click this stupid thing. Is that me?
No.
Oh yes,
Jesus.
you still get it. That's because we've only been doing this for 2 hours now, or 3
What a
hours.
pain in
or-
the ass. See, that's so ridiculous. Okay. So that's what I was talking about, Michael. You don't get that, huh? I guess only the
No.
initiator gets it.
I never get it.
Yeah, it says, "Are you still there?" and it's a bed. At least I saw it and I was able to respond. So I guess from now on, Google Plus Week will get that. So why the hell can't the algorithm figure out that I've been speaking and with people the whole time? You know what I mean?
Because
doesn't
it
make any
knows
sense.
you. Because you could have the stereo on.
Yep, background noise.
What
You
a
can have the
pain in
TV on.
ass. Okay,
There's a
so-
lot of good reasons for it. Anyway,
All right, so
but okay. So Dan, you let's step back. You introed this by saying that we shouldn't be surprised.
are you
Why not?
surprised?
I understand the math behind the SSL algorithm. Do you?
Do you think the NSA, which is the National Security Agency, which is basically a code-breaking agency, that's why they were created. That's at the heart of their existence. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you think they would not attempt to crack every single code so that when a bad guy's out there,
Let's put it this way, Dan. When one of the I'm going to be floundering a little bit because I've forgotten the name of the algorithm. An early encryption algorithm was proposed as a federal standard and was in use. And very shortly afterwards, the NSA recommended that it stop being used and instead recommended an alternative. Nobody could figure out why at the time. Okay, it wasn't for several more decades that independent researchers finally discovered a bug in the algorithm.
we can do another
Okay.
half hour on that alone.
And surprisingly enough, the NSA at that time not only had discovered the bug, but had proposed a fix, which was adopted. So that was the NSA working in our best interests. Now, what these reports are coming out and saying is that not only did the NSA find a bug, they actively tried to encourage the bug to be put in the system. And they actively were developing computers to exploit holes in the algorithm that they were putting in. That's what these reports are accusing the NSA of this time.
What's wrong with that?
Isn't that their
Yeah.
job? That's what they're paid to do, right?
Well, is that what they're paid to do?
So when John Gotti does something, well, that's domestic. I mean,
So Dan, so you think it's perfectly all right for the NSA to develop algorithms so that if a criminal found those same bugs, they'd be able to wipe your bank account out?
I mean, if
happy
you
about
phrase
that
that,
thought?
I don't accept the terms of your question.
Well, the
Why not?
point is like white hat. I mean, you poke holes in something to make it more secure.
We're all
but
we're all we're all bitching because Obama doesn't have the intelligence to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Assad did the chemical weapons.
No, Dan.
At the same
Dan,
time, we're
Dan,
all bitching because
you're
they're
diverting this.
trying to
you're-
to gain the tools for that.
You're changing the subject, unfortunately, which is fine. But the issue is we have these security systems on the internet to prevent bad guys from intercepting our legitimate communications.
Okay, frame it in terms that. Let me be devil's advocate against myself here. Frame it in terms of you're buying a Kindle book, you're making a Google Play purchase, and you want to know that when Amazon or Google says that you're on a secure server.
No, Dan, I'll frame it to you this way. Okay? What basically it is, the communication protocol that you use to talk to your bank, that your bank uses to talk to other banks.
Okay.
Okay? That communication protocol is now demonstrated to be vulnerable. And not just by the NSA, although we know that they know how to do it.
Did they
It's
introduce
the sort
the
of
bug?
thing where we could theoretically accept the fact that the NSA will be able to intercept private communications for the reasons you've outlined. I'm not going to try to poke holes in that particular part of the argument. Okay? What I'm saying, however, is this article, the newspaper articles are saying that they deliberately crippled that protocol to make it easier for them to do so. But at the same time, they deliberately cripple it to make it easier for the bad guys to do so.
How do you now? Where's the proof that they made it where the bad guys can do so? Where's that proof?
That's the argument that these articles have been making, that they intentionally crippled things like random number generators to make them less random.
Well, I
that
mean,
they
how do they
intentionally
know?
crippled
And here we
algorithms
are
which we're using.
speculating about stuff that we don't know for sure because it's secret until this chapter of Snowden's, James Michener novel is released.
Well, but that's the thing, Dan. When you're talking encryption algorithms, conventional wisdom says encryption algorithms aren't supposed to be secret. They're supposed to be public, so that anybody can find and shoot holes in them.
But basically, what you're saying is because of this, and this could happen, but probably won't. I mean, I could go driving down. I could go driving down the highway and get in a massive car accident and die, but it's highly unlikely it's going to happen.
Anthony, by that same argument, however, Dan is saying that because of this, and this, the NSA wouldn't be able to break our communication, and therefore a terrorist will be able to blow up a bomb in Manhattan. You can't cut it both ways.
Well, I'm not. I mean,
you can't. I'm sorry. You can't cut it both ways. Whether I agree or not with the NSA, with law enforcement agencies having legitimate needs to communication, to be able to intercept communications, to be able to do communications intelligence and signals intelligence. Okay, whether or not they should be able to do so, and I'm not arguing that point at all. Be clear about that. What these articles are alleging is that they have damaged other protocols that have legitimate uses to let people legitimately keep things private and secure. And by damaging that, they have opened it up for people who want to do us ill to be able to do us ill.
I got to interrupt briefly. I've got to invite Craig because he can't get back in. What the hell? What error is it? Is this a bug or what is this?
I'll get him.
Is it a bug? There's a really good question, isn't it?
All right, let me try to get Craig Ship here.
Dan?
This is so absurd.
I got him.
I don't know if he can get in unless I physically invite him.
No, I give him the same way I got Alan.
But I invited Alan. You just didn't see it.
No, I didn't see your. I don't know.
Did Michael? How did you get in?
I followed Michael's link.
Just like I got Craig in.
Well, what's changed? What error are you getting, and how do we report this, Alan? Because this is unacceptable.
I've reported it already. The error that I was getting, and I'm curious to hear if Craig got the same one, is, and I'm sorry, I'm bringing up my screenshot now to try to see it again, is it says you're not allowed to join this video call. I mean,
yeah, I get the same thing.
I suspect it's the apps. It's a bug between apps and regular Hangouts.
So when I use the free Gmail thing, it works, and when I use the paid one, it doesn't work.
Oh, that almost makes a great deal of sense.
But the paid one lets you have 15 people in, and the free one lets you have 10.
But it's the paid one, and they don't care about the apps accounts.
Man, why don't they fix this shit? Jesus.
Because they're Dan, were you even listening?
Let's
to
go.
The first half of this
Let's just.
show?
I'm gonna hit the instant replay button on the bugs and the photos.
I mean, seriously, Dan, we talk about this every week. We spent an hour on it at the beginning of the show.
I know. I was just venting then.
You basically have two choices. Choice A is
Don't say Matt.
you.
Here we go. Go ahead,
You're
Craig.
involved. No, seriously. Choice A is you're involved in a cutting edge thing. You're getting the stuff as it's rolling out before it's fully baked, and you're able to play around with it, and it's open, and everybody's allowed to play around and have fun. Choice B is you have a more closed environment where everything works.
And who would make that ecosystem, Craig?
Oh, you do not want to go there, Craig.
I'm not
You
going to
so
say
do not want to go there.
No, I'm not going to say names. I'm just saying those are the two options. And here we have something where it's in beta, and we're playing around with it, and you have to expect that there are going to be issues.
Yeah, I should have used Google Maps so I could be treading water in the Thames River right now when I was trying to, get to Scotland.
Trust me, I've had problems with all kinds of mapping systems. I mean,
especially.
none of them are perfect. Trust me.
Not only is he a troll on Google, he's an apologist for Apple.
I haven't even mentioned Apple. You're the one that mentioned Apple.
We know who you're talking about, Craig. We know exactly who
It
you're
can be
talking about.
any
You
kind
get
of a closed-
you get him,
Hey,
Army guy.
Bill,
You get him,
It
Army guy.
can be a Nikon camera. It can be any kind of a closed system that's heavily controlled.
Craig,
And you're not going to get the flexibility, but yet when I turn my camera on, it's pretty much going to work the same way every time. And
Craig, there are a whole bunch of flaws in that argument, and
The biggest one
I
is
can-
all these are internal tools that we're talking
No,
about. These aren't like
no,
something
no.
some crazy
Dan,
developer
hang on.
made. These
Dan,
are internal
let's address
tools
Craig's
made by
issue.
the company. Go ahead. Alan.
Let's address Craig's issue. You painted this as a dichotomy of open versus closed, and I'm not entirely sure I agree. And in fact, this even is almost relevant to our security discussion we were just sort of having. Just because it's closed doesn't mean that it's bug-free, and just because it's closed doesn't mean that anybody is going to fix the problem when it comes up. There have been a lot of examples of IBM. I'm not even going to use Apple. There have been a lot of examples of IBM when they were the dominant closed player in the market, would have tons and tons of bugs that they refuse to acknowledge.
I didn't
refuse
say
to
it's a
fix.
guarantee. I didn't say it's a guarantee, but like going back to the camera example where you were talking about the lens to go on the smartphones, right? There are advantages to that in that a bunch of people are probably going to be able to write apps to work with that lens, and you'll be able to do like HDR and all these different cool things. And yet, now if all that works, then that's great. But go back to like a regular Nikon, like my D700, where Nikon wrote all that software. They've refined it over time. It's a little bit clunky, and some things some people would complain about the UI and things like that, but it generally works.
Well, but here again, it's Craig,
it's more limited. It doesn't have as many things as it will do, right?
I get where you're going, Craig. The problem is, even in those cases, you still have lots and lots of examples of failure modes. There are lots of people who will, and I wish I could remember which I believe it was Canon, which model of Canon. I could be wrong that it was Nikon. Just was plagued with bugs that the manufacturer refused to acknowledge for ages.
Well, I mean, that does happen even in a closed system, but my point is, like my D700, for example, I've been using it for almost 4 years now, and it works the same way every time I use it. And so, but here we have a situation where you have Hangouts where obviously it's a work in progress. I mean, they wouldn't be having these maintenance shutdowns and all these different things, and they're trying to go into 720p, right? So they're doing all these things. Obviously, it's a work in progress. So there's no way we can expect for it to be bulletproof reliable.
By the way, Craig and Michael Banks, I'm now getting a little HD logo on Craig's camera, and you're looking incredibly clear at the moment.
I get the same thing.
Just for reference.
I get the same thing.
Yeah, I'm on my other workstation, so I probably have more bandwidth here because it's hooked up with a Cat5 cable.
That's so
Oh, well.
1980s.
We'll get that discussion going again.
Sure.
You wish.
Okay, so we all agree on that one.
Yeah.
I guess
But
next.
Dan said that this type of a Hangout, that it didn't have HD available, so now it seems like it does.
No, Michael Banks wasn't sure whether a regular Hangout could, and apparently it can.
Are you getting do you have the option for the little, do you see the HD option up there?
Yeah, I have the little triangle that I can click on.
And it says HD?
and it says Auto HD, and it's all the way up on the plus,
Okay.
and then it says Disable HD.
Okay.
Your signal right now is in no way to be confused with HD in any way, shape, or form.
Really, he's
What is
looking
it?
incredibly sharp to me.
Yeah.
What does the frame rate look like when I move my hands? That's the big-
Excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I don't know what it looks like after it goes through Dan's machine, but it looks excellent to me.
It's great on my end as well.
Okay. If you're gonna go that way.
Hey, I didn't say anything about your machine.
All right. So next up,
Well, can you give me a recap on what you all finally decided on the camera, the lens thing?
I
Right.
think we were all agreeing we were going to need to wait about, see where
No,
this
I'm calling it. I'm calling it. It's crap.
Okay.
I don't think crap. I think we need to see the evidence.
I'm calling it crap.
So Michael made the final call on that.
So the
Okay, I'll
Army
go
guy-
along with that.
One is overpriced, and two, even if the quality is the same, it's still overpriced.
The fancy one's only $100 less than the full camera.
They're still overpriced. I get an iPhone. Still take better pictures.
Are you gonna buy this, Craig? Or are you gonna wait for the reviews, or what are you gonna do?
I'm not going to buy one. I've already decided I'm not buying anything with a smaller than APS-C size sensor.
Cool.
Period.
And I will agree. I was probably going to be a little more forgiving. I mean, I've entertained the notion of a micro four thirds, but with after this conversation, I'm definitely no way on this one.
Look, in all seriousness, Craig, I mean, we pick on each other all the time, but the bottom line is that if you look him up and look at the videos and photos that he shares, they're amazing. The videos he does look like, PBS broadcast television, and he's doing it with a $1,000 camera and a $1,000 lens, not the kit lens, but he's upgraded to a Carl Zeiss lens, and they look amazing. I mean, they're that good. So, he knows what he's talking about, at least on this.
Well,
One issue
on this
I just think that if you're going to have a separate piece of gear, you're going to have to carry that thing anyway, right? I mean, why not carry just an NEX 5 or something? That's only what, $500, Michael?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that much more than that, and you get an APS-C size sensor. You can put whatever lenses you want on it.
Well, the reason why not, and the reason why I wouldn't, the reason why I was actually very hopeful for these lenses is I want the different form factor. I want to see how these kinds of form factors can be used in the real world. Will it let me create something like a shoulder mount for a camera? Will it let me create, what other controls can I develop for it? So that's why I'm at least interested in this form factor. Obviously, I don't think this is the product.
One thing that would be interesting is could it be used as a webcam? You'd have to have some kind of an AC adapter to hook up to it so the battery doesn't run down.
It comes with it doesn't come with you can buy an AC adapter for it. It can do it can do live video. I think it was even 1080p.
Hmm.
So it certainly seems like it could be used as a webcam.
How would you connect it to your computer?
See, this is where you cringe. You know the answer.
Wi-Fi?
I know Craig gonna cringe.
Like I said, this is where he cringes.
You see his?
Well, I'm just wondering what kind of quality you would get connecting with it via Wi-Fi.
Come on, Craig. Mr. Cat 5. Come on. Don't even go there.
No. I mean, I was thinking maybe you could hook it up with a USB. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's got a USB plug on it, but a lot of cameras can't be used with USB.
I'm not sure it has a USB. You're right. It
Jody
might.
can't get in. Can you get her back in?
Okay, let me.
Michael,
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, can you do
other
your?
Michael,
So,
Who?
you think?
Who?
Okay,
Who?
Jody.
Okay.
could I solve this, Alan, by circling all these people? Because I haven't circled any of them from my
And-
Google
and-
Apps paid account, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
All right, so Michael, you're going to take care
Well,
of that.
maybe next
I-
time don't use your Google Apps account. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, because we never hit 10 anyway. What the hell? I would just worry that we would hit 10. But since the notification for the freaking Hangout never went out,
Here's
Ask
your
our top contributor. He'll know.
He's coming. Okay, what's the question?
You hit 10, I'll be happy to give my spot to whoever needs it.
no, you got to be in here. You have fans. Your trolling is legendary. Alan's and Alan getting enraged and your trolling are two of the key parts of the show. We have to preserve that. We're gluttons, we're masochists, or whatever it is.
Now all
Pam's
we need is a
willing to
host,
take
and we're all set.
Pam's
Okay.
willing to take over for me.
All right, so next up is this Time Warner deal. Time Warner was recently in the news because they couldn't do a deal with CBS, and then they did right before the football. So the court has struck down Time Warner's free speech challenge to FCC regulations. Basically, what this means, I think it was Bloomberg, and I forget the other one, but what Time Warner did was they put them on a paid tier, not the free tier or the basic tier, so that fewer people would see them. And then Time Warner owned a competing cable channel, so they put their own. It's sort of like if NBC owned a cable system, and they put CNBC on the basic tier, so everyone got it, and then if Fox Business Channel. They move them up to a paid tier, which fewer people get, to kind of allegedly screw them over, which, in my opinion, is obviously what that was about. So Time Warner argued that it was their First Amendment right of free speech to do this, which I think is at best a stretch. Ordinarily, I am against the government regulating business in this way. But in this case with cable companies, and I was having a private conversation with Craig, cable companies are typically de facto monopolies. They're not real monopolies because if you're in a Comcast area, Time Warner or Cablevision could theoretically ask the local government to build a competing network, but it doesn't make economic sense because once someone has laid all the copper or fiber to all the homes, it's the chances that another company coming in and laying copper to the same homes or fiber to the same homes and generating a profit are slim to none. So none of them do that. So most of us, unless you're lucky enough to have Verizon as a local telco that's a FiOS area and a local cable company, then you've got some competition. But that's not in many areas, and it's in so few areas that they're not really price competitive because they don't want to upset the other areas where they're all monopolies. So it's kind of
Dan?
like they all benefit.
Dan?
So what do you guys think about this, Alan?
No, Dan, I'm confused here. Are you trying to say that a content delivery platform does not have the right to determine what and how it delivers that content?
I'm torn. Like I said,
Because-
I generally don't like this stuff. I think this is similar. You could make an argument that this is similar to Pillsbury being upset because Walmart is putting great value products at eye level and putting Pillsbury 2 shelves up.
Well,
It's
and-
almost
and-
exactly the same thing. The difference
and-
is in every town you have a Walmart and a Target and a Kroger or Martin's or Food Line, whatever. In most towns that have cable TV, you only have one cable provider, and it just doesn't make economic sense to have multiple ones. So it's not a true monopoly, but it's a de facto monopoly because there aren't others in there.
Okay, so you're saying that it's okay for a de facto monopoly. So you're saying, I'm sorry, you're saying it's not okay for a de facto monopoly to push its own product in favor of a competitor's product.
Well,
Is that what you're saying? And the reason why I phrase it very specifically like that is we've had this conversation before, and you've taken the exact other side in it.
no, because this initially came up when Comcast bought NBC.
No. That's not what I'm talking about in this particular. I mean, yes. Okay, sorry. Continue. Yeah.
So Comcast bought NBC, and there was a concern that they would own CNBC. Would they screw over Fox Business Channel? That's a specific example. What if, let's carry this to an extreme conclusion, which is unrealistic, but plausible. What if on Comcast they decided to put NBC stations in the basic cable tier and move CBS and ABC to a paid tier. Would that be fair? Would you have a problem with that? Because that's what Bloomberg is arguing.
Well, I would even turn around and say, you see, here's my problem. You and I have had this conversation before. We've had this conversation on this show many, many times, except we were talking about Google.
If there were 16 cable companies, different story, okay? But there's in most towns there's one.
Dan,
like Craig in
but
both
Dan,
locations has
here's
just
the thing.
Comcast.
Here's the thing. You said you specifically used the word de facto monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
Google has a de facto monopoly on search right now.
Okay.
Okay.
That's where you're going with this. Okay.
That's where I'm going with this.
Right.
Google has a de facto monopoly on search, and they use their predominant position in search to push their other products.
There's a difference.
What's the difference between Google having a de facto monopoly on search
The
and
de
a
facto
cable company
monopoly
having
term
a de facto monopoly on video delivery?
Because everyone has choice on the internet. There's no person who has full-blown internet. I'm not talking North Korea or Syria, but anybody who has basic internet can choose to use Bing or, whatever search engine they want.
I can search
versus
for a
Google.
product on Amazon. I mean, I've got a
Sure.
lot of options.
Sure, but how many options do you have for cable television and true broadband? One, Craig. I have
That's
one.
right.
I have Comcast, or I can use Dish or Direct and get
Well, no.
absolute
Here's the thing.
shit
No.
service.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Dan, hold on. One sec.
Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead,
Invite
Michael.
Jody. Invite Jody real quick, Dan.
So she did. Okay.
No. Do it the manual way. I have a idea what this bug may be, but invite her.
I
through
hope
your
so
way.
because you can tell our inside people. Let me invite. This is
Alan, go
completely
ahead.
talk about a buzzkill here.
Craig, I want you to relay or have Jody re-say what she said
I'm talking
about
to her
all
now.
those nice things about.
You guys can keep talking. I'm just
Okay.
I'm just
so my
monopolizing
point,
the screen.
and the problem is though, you can get your video content delivery from any number of other locations nowadays.
You can't get
If I-
broadband internet, and they bundle the stuff and they make it.
You can get broadband internet just as broadband internet. Lots and lots of people do.
Yeah, but there's a lot of areas, Alan, where you only have like one choice. I only have one.
I knew it. I figured it out. Yes, I figured out the bug. I figured out the bug.
What's the bug,
go ahead.
Michael?
Go ahead.
No,
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, I want to. So Jody, great to
Yes.
have you back. What's your thoughts on this experience, and what do you have to say about Google right now?
Did Craig read you what I wrote to him?
Yes, he did, and I want you to say it out loud, please.
I said, bah humbug.
I remember when Alan used to have a forehead.
Take back all the nice things I said.
I can't see anything at the moment. Dan.
All the
That's
nice
problem.
things you said about me or about Google.
Oh, I always say nice things about you, Craig. About Google.
So,
No, I was frustrated.
all right. So here's the thing.
Yes, yes.
How
Thank
was
you, Jody.
Michael- how
That
was-
describes me and Google Plus for the past 2 freaking years.
You're
How
just
was
you're just
Michael
still
able
steam because you got banned.
How was Michael able to get you back in? What did he do?
He wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
he
did.
did.
Michael did it.
No, I figured. We'll talk about it later.
I
figured
think your
something
link
out.
only.
No,
I think
no,
Michael
Michael,
did it,
you
but
just-
his link only worked after I manually invited her.
Michael, do it now. Let's get it out.
Okay, now this is total speculation. I don't know exactly how this works, but now Dan, I do have one question. When you first put the first private link, where did you share that from? Did you share that from your apps account to the stream?
No,
Or did you copy the link and put it to the stream?
Okay, I have. I'm on a $140 HP computer.
No, I don't care about
No,
the
I'm okay.
No.
Okay, I have a laptop that is logged in. That's what you're looking at. That's the Hangout I'm in here, right? That's this.
No. I'm asking the apps Hangout. Where did you share the link? Did you share it from your apps account or did you share it from your personal account?
I invited my apps account, invited my main account, and then on my other computer, I shared the link from my
and
main.
and that's the issue.
So
it
I
was
need to.
just
If
in.
I had circled and invited everyone from the apps account, we wouldn't be
You know to
having this
work
issue.
flawlessly.
Okay.
Now, what the reason this worked here is because you had to give permission to her user ID saying this person's allowed invited. And
But
then
how did she initially
violated-
join though?
Because your invite, while she's not on your app's account, it goes to your app's account stream. So she won't see the invite. She won't even get notified because she's not on your app's account. So I give her the link. So it's like you just put the RSVP list out, and I gave her the actual RSVP.
I still don't understand. Initially, they joined.
but
I had
Michael-
not had any of these people circled. They initially joined by clicking on a link from a Google
Yeah,
Plus
but did you
post.
share that from your app's computer?
No.
That was the
Okay.
issue.
But how did they initially join and they can't join
how
again?
did we get in initially and then not later?
I don't know. Possibly they reset after a certain amount of time.
What a pain in the ass.
That makes, I don't know.
The Hangout permission probably resets.
So we all agree everything's working.
Actually,
But that-
Michael's right about that. It
Another
does
Google
reset.
Plus success story.
Michael's right about that, Dan.
Huh?
It does reset after a period of time. If you're inviting someone from your app's account and they're outside of your domain, at the beginning you get the initial message that says you're inviting someone from outside your domain. Do you want to continue? You say yes, and
I
it
never
goes ahead and
invited
invites those
anybody.
people.
I'm
I'm just saying there's something to do with the app's account and inviting people from outside your
The
domain.
keys. It's the
Giving them access from outside the domain. I don't know how it works
Yeah.
exactly, but it's something to do with that. And there is a timeout in it. Michael's right about that, because if you do it once and then you share it or invite or give the link to several more people that are outside the domain, it works for a while. And then the next time you do it later in time, it will give you the same message again, telling you that you're inviting someone from outside the domain.
It's like a one-time key. You get one time to get in, then you lock the domain again. It's like you open the door to let somebody in, then you lock it again.
What's the point?
And then you have to invite. It's more secure. I mean,
Yeah, it's more annoying.
All right, so
Yeah.
what I need to do is in the
Most
beginning.
Hangouts don't run for 5 freaking hours.
Oh,
It's
dig,
true.
the dig counter. Hang on. Okay, so what I should do is whoever I'm inviting that night, I should put them in a circle. I should share the circle from my Dan McDermott thing to the WCR TV paid apps thing, and then the paid apps account puts them in a circle, and actually invites them from the Hangout from the paid apps account, and then they should be good for the duration, right?
not guaranteed. They might be good for one click. It might reset again, but
Jesus,
I don't know.
I'm paying
I don't
for
know.
this service and it sucks.
You pay for it.
Welcome to Google!
It's for internal. It's called apps. It's for your domain, not for everyone in the public.
Right, it's meant to be
Man,
for
it's
your
like-
domain.
Turn around and grab your ankles, and it's $5 a month.
Per user.
Yeah.
That's not that much.
I'm shocked that something related to Google or Android would be ghetto. I'm
Well,
shocked.
you might
just
say
want the
ghetto,
Kit
it
Kats.
might say security feature.
I think I might eat that giant Kit Kat. I've saved the 7-inch one.
Alan, you have a comment?
Is it still showing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hidea is saying, I told you she would change her stance. And it didn't even take
It
6
wasn't my
months.
stance, it was my mind.
She's just.
Oh, no, wait, I lost my mind.
She's sticking up for Craig. That's all.
Around here, that's the only way to join this show is to lose your mind.
There you go.
So we like Jody, even though she
The
won't do the
checks,
upside.
the checks in the mail, Jody. The checks.
Could
in
you
the
have a few drinks, Jody, and do the upside down thing on your little?
I
What's it-
send them over.
What's it called again?
It's an inversion table. You hang from your ankles, and it's good for your spine to.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that is insane. I bet
Not
you have
yet.
a weird diet or something.
Dan would
No.
probably pay her $10 now to do it.
That's like something crazy like Craig, who has a stand-up desk. He doesn't sit.
I have a treadmill desk.
Wow.
What?
A treadmill desk.
That's cost too much.
No, actually, Michael, I bought it. I bought a treadmill and I bought the desk and I put it together.
Oh, you
And
made one.
It was under $500. It was great. It is great.
Okay, so does anyone have any final thoughts on the Time Warner, on whether it should be legal for a cable system that owns a channel about whatever, sports, business, general programming, whatever it is, to put their owned channel on a lower tier that more people get and put the competitive channel on a higher tier that fewer people get. In one sense, that's the American way, but in another sense, most people only have one cable TV option in their community, and so it's like kind of like a public utility, even though it's private.
Okay. Here's what it is. I'm going to channel Craig here, even though he's sitting right there.
Was that a pun? That's a pun. Pun, right? Pun. Go ahead.
I guess he is standing. You're right. This is the sort of this is old media screwing themselves over to the point where people are going to realize they can get the same bits of information. I mean, we're talking about Bloomberg, who made his money limiting access to information, and we're talking about the Tennis Channel. Think about that one for a minute. The Tennis Channel. Let's be honest. This is old media screwing themselves over, and people are going to rapidly realize there are better ways to get the information they want, to see the programming they want, and bit by bit, they're going to be pushing these old media operators to the curb. We'll still be using them for
Alan,
for
that
ISP.
assumes, your argument assumes that I have high-speed internet. If I've got high-speed internet at my house at an affordable price, right, then I can do a lot of things. A lot of options are open still, but with live sports and all that, that still is a problem, right? But if I'm in a situation where I can't even get high-speed internet reliably, then I have very few options.
Yeah, but you've got very few, because in those cases you're also probably not getting multiple news channels. You're probably getting one or two news channels anyway.
I might be able to get cable TV from one choice, like right where I am right now. I only have one option for high-speed internet. That's Comcast.
Right, and they're the same ones that are offering you the video. But the question, right. My point is, basically, this is a case where they're competing against themselves. Okay, since they're offering both these video channels and the high-speed internet, the fact is going to be that eventually the high-speed internet is going to start pushing out these other channels. So by creating paid tiers, more and more people are going to stop caring.
But what they do, Alan, is they penalize me if I say, okay, all I want is the high-speed internet. Then what they do is they say, okay, then you'll pay a lot more for it. So, like, if I buy a package, if I buy like basic internet, it actually costs me more to go to just internet.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the same boat. But again, it starts penalizing them when it comes to the access for the additional channels. Eventually, they may start realizing that nobody's actually watching their video streams because they're getting the video streams from elsewhere because they're providing crap video streams. This is your argument, Craig. Why are you disagreeing with me?
Look. Let's be honest here.
We need other options for internet. Is my point. I need to be able to just tell Comcast.
I absolutely agree with you, and that's called wireless, and we're going to get into that battle next.
I have Comcast Business Class, and I pay 100 and whatever it is for the premium business class internet, and then I pay literally $5 for the basic tier, and that's like the local ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, C-SPAN, that kind of stuff. It's like 40 channels or whatever, and then Fox I just don't have, and CNN I can watch on the CNN app or on the web because they've got some glitch, but I can't watch it on my actual television set. And these are all HD channels on my regular TV. I pay $5 a month extra for that. If I were to get that just by itself, it would be much, much higher, right? So we all know that if Bloomberg or the Tennis Channel, and God, are there possibly like multiple tennis channels? And how many viewers do they have? That's crazy. And I like tennis, right? Craig plays tennis. I mean, but Jesus, I mean, how much demand could there be? If Bloomberg is in the basic tier that everyone gets, along with CNN and Fox News, they're going to get their 300,000 in the daytime and 1 million at night. If they're on a paid tier, they're going to get 30,000 and 50,000, and they're not going to be able to charge as much for ads. And if everyone had multiple cable operators, then they would be competing to offer the most stuff to get the business. But in most communities, there isn't that situation. In some, there is. There's Comcast and Verizon, FiOS, or what have you. And some people use the Dish and DirecTV. A lot of people use that. But if you want broadband internet, you tend to have to go back to your cable provider. And then it's cheaper to get the TV programming through them than it is to have a separate Dish or DirecTV plan versus the Comcast. Most people who, I'm going to go out on a limb here, I'm speculating, but at least in my area, anybody who's using DirecTV or Dish is doing so because they don't have the ability to have the wired cable network. And, they're in a rural area. So the government can step in cases where it's a de facto monopoly in this case. That's not the case with Google because there are many options. People elect not to use Bing because Bing sucks and they use Google instead.
Bing is actually pretty good.
I mean, says the guy from Apple.
There we are, agreeing again.
He's everything except Google. He don't care who it is. It's not Google.
No, I mean, it's not really that bad. And most of my searching, to tell you the truth, is not even done on Google. Most of my searching is on Amazon to buy something. I go in there and I put in what I want, and it comes up, and I click and I buy it. I don't use Google.
Did you try the Bing It? The
Bing It
comparison?
Bing It On.
No.
Yeah. Did you try? I did, and I wound up picking Google.
Most of us are so into the Google ecosystem that it's just all built in. It's like easier.
I mean, was it really that bad? Was Bing really that bad?
It wasn't that it was that bad. It's a little different. The results were a little just nuances.
I actually like their image searches better.
When I tried it, and this was in the early days of Bing It On, the searches that I was doing, Google was returning answers when Bing wasn't, and I was doing searches like Bing It On, and Bing didn't have answers, and Google did. That told me something by itself.
Google's lifeblood is search. That's what pays for all of this other crap that we get to play with.
And that's why they don't care about apps accounts.
Bing is some throwaway piece of crap that they created because they had to compete. It was,
and that sounds like an apps account. Wow,
it's like
I see the analogies here.
Remember the commercials, Meta, all we make are great copiers. That's Google, right? And the other stuff is ancillary in the same way that Bing is ancillary to Microsoft. Mm-hmm. It's an appendix, and it's I mean, if Craig wants to use Bing, more power to him. Their image search isn't bad, but I just think Microsoft is sleazy, and I'm going to troll them every chance I get. Because I think their Scroogled campaign, and this is a segue to our next topic, their Scroogled campaign is sleazy, and Bill Gates should be offended that the company that he founded with Paul Allen would stoop to such depths. If you can't innovate, litigate. So let's go to our next topic, and that is Google has asked that a federal judge dismiss a Gmail scanning lawsuit. And I saw this was on ABC News. If you go to abcnews.com, you'll see the story probably. But it was on ABC News tonight. I was watching on broadcast television because it's in the basic tier. I couldn't watch Bloomberg because it's not. But basically what they do is if I send an email to Alan saying, man, I've got a hemorrhoid and what should I take? Then Alan will see that, and maybe as I'm reading his reply, I'll see a preparation H ad in Gmail. And they were doing this stuff, and one guy said, I think I should buy some stocks, and he saw next to his Gmail, stockadvisors.com or whatever it was, and so they were playing this game back and forth, and the thing to remember is it's not a human being, it's not the Gestapo reading your emails, it's an algorithm that reads them and delivers appropriate ads, and that's how you get Gmail for free, unlike me who gets Google Apps email for $5 a month and it doesn't work in video calls. So what do you guys think about this? I have absolutely no problem accepting the terms of service, but then another thing is that if Craig is using Hotmail and sending me an email, he has never agreed to the Gmail terms of service. He's only agreed to Hotmail's terms of service. And that email is being scanned by Gmail when I receive it. So he is, without opting in, being exposed to Gmail's terms of service. So that's kind of a secondary issue here. I have absolutely no problem with if I'm emailing Craig back and forth about what kind of swimming pool I should buy, or I need a new car, or what have you, if they're going to deliver me car ads, because there's no person aware of that.
Okay,
it's an algorithm.
Dan,
so that's the setup. And go ahead, Alan. What do you think?
So Dan, for starters, let me go with this quote. Y'all got Dan started on Scroogled. Oh boy, he's going to blow a top.
Grr. I hate Microsoft's screw campaign.
Let me be absolutely clear before I give this answer. Let me be absolutely clear that I think this lawsuit is bogus, and I think Google's in the right on this one. However,
a rare victory for Google.
However, why? Look, if I didn't like Google, I wouldn't be here.
That was just a mini troll there.
We all know that. However, would you be comfortable with the fact of knowing that AT&T employees or Ma Bell employees not only could but would routinely listen in on your telephone conversations?
How is that in any possible way analogous to this when they've specifically said that's not the case? That it's an algorithm that does it. I mean, I guess Edward Snowden or the WikiLeaks dude with the hair, they could sneak in and steal the data, I guess, or the Syrian Electronic Army. We're all at risk of that. They could break into your bank account. They could break into your email account. Every WordPress site I've ever put up has eventually failed and is unrecoverable.
It's analogous. It's analogous in the sense that the laws that Google are being brought under, that are being brought against them, are wiretap laws. So it's a very, very specific analogy that basically the people who brought the lawsuit are saying that Google is violating wiretap laws because they're listening in on your email.
But they're not. A machine.
But they are.
A computer is. There's a difference between, Alan, there's a difference between you personally snooping in without my consent, right? And for Gmail users, this is all
so Dan,
with consent.
No, Dan, I get it now. So if I write a program that runs on your machine,
and I click, I agree to these terms and conditions to have this program.
Not that you agree to these terms. If I run, because the person sending you email isn't agreeing to Google's.
I don't even know if I buy that, because I think it's mainly what you type is what generates the ads. If you send me a message about a hot tub and I respond like I'm not interested in this, I don't think I'm going to see a hot tub ad. I think you are.
You are. So if I run a program that runs on your machine and intercepts everything that happens to a bank account, that every transaction you have with your bank, and after you do that, does the same thing, logs into your bank, withdraws the money and sends it to me, because I have a program that's automatically doing it, and I'm not personally doing it, I'm not in violation of wiretap laws.
I think if I've agreed to terms and conditions, then you're not.
That's like PayPal, like an automatic deduction that you
does
do
sound
on
like
PayPal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is PayPal in violation of federal wiretap laws? There's a good question.
No, but you know what? I mean, I think you both have valid points, but I think, if anything, it's creepy. It really is. Facebook does it all the time. If you have a conversation with somebody on Facebook... How is it creepy,
though?
What?
How is it creepy?
It's creepy because if you're talking to somebody about something and you think that your perception is, this is a conversation that I'm having in my Gmail account between me and you, Dan, and now suddenly I'm getting advertising that somehow or other is correlated to our conversation. It's not a public conversation. It's not anything I posted anywhere. But
Nor
now
is the eavesdropping public. It's an algorithm. It's not a person looking at that data.
It's still creepy. It's creepy because it's like you and I were talking, let's say, about BMW motorcycles. You tell me that you're looking at BMW motorcycles.
Yeah, I'm looking at buying a new microphone. What kind should I get, Jody? And you say, oh, I like the new whatever microphone. And then all of a sudden we start seeing ads on this.
I'm seeing messages. This is just something that we were emailing back and forth It's not a public conversation.
But
Now
you
I'm
agree
getting
that
ads.
but you when you set
But
up your
that's how
Gmail
it
account,
works.
you
That's
agreed
how Google
has
to
always
terms
worked.
and conditions, and they want to give relevant search results. The same thing applies to search. If you search for "I need a new mortgage," then next to that, the native display ads, you're going to see ads for mortgage companies, and in many cases, I find that the ads on the right column on Google search results are more relevant and helpful than the native search results that Google produces. I have no
Dan,
problem with
understand-
that. It's helpful and relevant.
Dan, let me.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Jody.
I was just going to say, I don't have a problem with that because it's something that you're putting in a search, right? That's different. That's different than an email conversation between two people.
But you agreed to those terms and conditions when you signed up for
It's
Gmail.
sneaky
You know,
what?
I think
and
that
creepy.
I
It's
think
creepy.
that the
Icky
term
and creepy.
creepy is so overused, and so is privacy. I mean, come on.
There
We're
is no
on
such
the
thing.
Internet. We're on the internet. There is no such thing as freaking privacy, people. Get
you
over
know,
it.
I would much rather Google give me some relevant ads.
Creepy is
Well,
you
you know,
are-
some of the stuff I search for, you wouldn't believe some of the ads I see.
Okay, what? Sorry,
I'm afraid
Jody,
to
no.
ask.
Guys, just to interrupt for a second. Dan, can you invite Michael Banks back, please?
Oh my God, the ultimate
What happened to Michael?
test
You
of
know, you got
Michael's
the thing
theory.
we-
See, this is absolutely insane.
So Jody.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
but-
y'all keep talking.
So I would much rather some algorithm or, you know, some nerd group in Mountain View view my search results than, you know, the telephone operator in my small town listening to my phone conversation. So to me, it's a little different. You know, the NSA has
you're
300 million conversations going on, and the chances of them honing in on mine are pretty small.
So you're partly right. So getting back to this overused term, creepy. Creepy is, Jody, you leave
As creepy does.
you leave the bar at 10 o'clock p.m. and you're walking down the street and somebody's 40 feet behind you stalking you. That's creepy. Sending an
That is
email to
creepy.
somebody and having an ad-driven service serve up an ad to you that's relevant to your emails, that's business.
It's
Okay,
so
here-
creepy.
And
It's stalking my email.
Guys,
the
we have
service. You know that's how the service works.
No.
You don't have
Creepy
to
is
use
getting.
service.
guys, stop. Keep saying you know how that's how the service works, and that's fine because you've agreed to those terms. The issue in this case is that somebody who is not using Gmail is sending you, who is using Gmail, a letter, and now they are getting
What
profiled.
rock has this person been under all these years that they don't know that Gmail is ad-driven?
That's not relevant to the well.
I think it's relevant.
Okay, hang on, Alan. If I send
it's-
what's
Craig,
the
Craig, it's not relevant because I can have an email address that does not say .gmail.com and it gets sent to my Gmail address.
Alan, if I send an email to Craig saying
This is from a non-Gmail account.
from my yahoo.com or my Dan McDermott .net, whatever, if I send him an email that's is a phishing scam or some sort of spam thing, malicious, whatever, maybe it has an attachment that is a virus. Is it wrong for Gmail to scan that and stick that in a
Perfect.
spam folder?
A perfect counterexample, and I agree with you 100% on this one. And this is why
They're
Google
both done
is
by
right.
an algorithm.
And this is why Google is right. Okay, let's
Can you
be
say that
perfectly
again?
clear. Google is right.
Let me
This
jot
is,
the
this is
time.
why Google is right.
I
Let's be
thought the
clear.
Earth moved there.
And let's be clear that we understand why. Google is right in this case, not because we've got this, agreement in terms, not because some outsider should have known better, not because of any of these things. Google is right in this case because as part of the routine handling of email, they present ads. And the law specifically exempts it specifically says that in the routine course of handling email, you may need to look at the email, and that is not wiretapping. That is why Google will prevail in this case.
I say what we need to do to solve this problem, since there's a lot of people out there that want the government involved in all this and want all the lawyers involved in all this stuff. They want a safe internet. They want a private internet. I think what we should do is create a separate internet over there somewhere for them and have none of these free services on there. Don't have YouTube, don't have Facebook, don't have Twitter, don't have any of that stuff that could hurt their privacy, and let them all hang out over there. And I'll hang out over here where I don't give a rat's ass about privacy. When I put a photo up, it's got my geolocation, for God's sakes. All right? I don't care. If I put it on the internet, as far as I'm concerned, it's public.
But you know,
That's
Craig,
the- that's the
there
deal
could be a
here.
reason
Craig.
you don't care. First of all, you're a guy, okay?
That's right.
Huh.
That's right. But all the women can be
When
over
was the
on
last
that
time you got a
internet if they
peen
wanna be.
picture,
If they
Craig?
want privacy, they can be over on that other internet, right?
Craig, when was the last time you got an email with a penis picture in there?
I haven't gotten one.
Hmm.
But if I did, I'd just delete it, or I'd click the spam thing, or whatever.
I'm sure
I
if Craig
wouldn't-
joined one of your
wouldn't-
communities, Pam, he could
It,
get
wouldn't,
some of
it really
those.
wouldn't bother me. I mean,
No,
it's
that's
like
Harry then.
people think somebody's going to reach through the freaking monitor and strangle you or something. It's not that
No,
easy.
but you're saying,
It's
well,
different
I've
for
got my
girls.
photos are geotagged and blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
nobody's going to
Well,
come
you
bother
know,
you. I mean, the odds of somebody coming and bothering you it's much more likely you're going to get hit by a car walking down the street.
I think
That's
no,
not
they're right on that.
Do not
Girl, it's
have
different for
daughter.
girls.
My 18-year-old daughter.
Don't listen to the media. They don't happen.
It does
Craig,
happen.
My
No,
18-year-old
very
daughter,
rare.
Craig,
Very, very
Craig.
Mm-hmm.
My 18-year-old daughter has a stalker. We
And what
had to
has
go
the
to
stalker
court.
done?
We have
What has the stalker
police.
done to her?
We're what?
What has he done to her?
Okay, no.
She-
No, no,
Craig,
this is
and-
not cool. Let her talk, Craig. I mean, these things do
you
happen.
don't understand that her phone has been hacked. We had
Okay.
to have Verizon had to shut it down. She's gone to my daughter's job, okay, and interfered with her work. Tried to
Okay.
get a job there. Contacted my sister. Okay. She
Okay,
has
Craig, how about being beaten up? How about
She's-
being raped?
jumped
It's very
our
rare.
fence.
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna-
look,
I
she's
am not gonna
trespassed.
change my lifestyle for something that is extremely rare.
How?
Craig,
Okay,
Craig,
how do
Craig,
we?
I just
how-
My kids aren't
Craig,
going to
Craig,
be out in the street.
Craig!
That's extremely rare.
Craig! You know, it's fine to say it's freaking rare. Go ahead, cite statistics. Give me the fucking statistics.
That's right.
Go for it. I
That's
will
right.
personally tell you, I know 2 people
Mhm.
who were stalked, who were beaten up, and who were raped.
Okay.
Okay? Now go ahead.
So
Tell me
does
that,
that
and
mean-
both of them.
so-
What? Craig, let me finish.
So
Both
then
of them came
so-
about
so
from
do you
cyber
think
stalking.
that happens because of the internet?
It
Most
did in
of the
both
time-
of those cases.
Most of the time, it has nothing to do with the internet.
Not true,
No,
Craig.
no, but the
Unfortunately, I
internet
wish.
is a tool.
I hate
And
to
as
tell
a
you, but
tool,
most dialing
Craig,
have nothing
God
to
damn
do
it,
with
Craig, let me finish. And maybe you'll freaking learn something. The internet is a tool. We all know the internet is a tool. It can be used
Yeah.
for good. It can be used for evil.
That's right. And
I
it's-
know,
and it's
personally.
much more rare that it be used for evil.
Listen,
No,
I'm gonna
no,
as the
far too
I'm
much.
not
commonly
buying
used
it.
for evil.
I'm not buying that the internet is a freaking cesspool. I don't
I'm
care
not
what
either,
you say.
Craig.
I'm not
Craig,
freaking buying
it is a tool.
Most of the people on the internet are decent people, okay? It's much more common for you to be in downtown freaking D.C. walking down the street and get mugged and killed than being killed on the fucking internet. Excuse
Give
my
me a
French.
freaking, give me a
It
percentage.
ain't gonna happen. I'm not buying it.
I
And
gotta
I'll
All right, listen,
freaking
listen,
call
listen,
Craig.
listen.
I gotta say on this one, I mean, I gotta agree with Craig. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
agree.
So
I disagree with Craig. I agree with Alan, and I agree with Pam.
You know, I'd agree with Craig a lot more if I didn't know people who were hurt by it.
can
I
we agree? We can go to another topic.
There are a lot more people that are hurt by non-internet activities than internet.
That's true as
Well,
well.
that's true. That's true
Okay.
too.
So go ahead, Pam. Last word on.
Not saying that the internet is evil. It's just a tool that facilitates evil.
Yep.
So that's the
Rarely.
thing. The people
Rarely
themselves.
happens.
Look,
It
there's the
doesn't
Craigslist.
really
Listen,
happen. It
there's
happens
I don't know
all
how
the
this
time.
topic
It's
morphed.
very rare.
Pam, there was the Craigslist murderer, and Craigslist got unfairly, branded with that as a title,
The
but
media jumps
it
all
did
over
happen.
this crap and blows it all out of proportion because it gets them headlines, and they're circling the freaking drain, so they'll do anything to get their freaking headlines. I'm not buying it.
Listen,
Craig, I'm
that's
sorry.
true.
I'm sorry, Craig.
Like tonight
People
on
that I personally know were hurt by it.
Yeah,
Didn't make
me
it
too.
into the headlines. Didn't make it public. These were
How
people
many
that were
do you
hurt.
know, Alan?
Yeah.
How many do you know, Alan, that have not been hurt by it?
Craig, just because there are people who have not been hurt does not make it right.
Right.
I think honestly, it is a tool. You're right, and it can be used by predators. And I think it's a very scary proposition. And unfortunately, kids today don't recognize privacy the way that we did growing
Correct.
up.
Yep.
Okay,
I
listen,
think-
listen. Here, let me put some balance on this, and then we're going to
Oh, yeah.
move to. I really want, Alan. I want to do the Pinterest path battle. I think that's interesting, and it'll be a real quick topic and fun. Unlike this topic.
We need some fun.
Okay. So on the
of
one
fun.
hand, and we've had Craig Newmark. He's a great guy. He's been on our show before. The founder of Craigslist. But there was the guy who used Craigslist to find somebody, and killed them. That doesn't mean that Craigslist is dangerous. At the same time, to that family and to that victim, that incident occurred, right? But that doesn't mean you shouldn't sell your mattress or your box spring or whatever on Craigslist, or purchase one. If you're gross enough to buy a used mattress. That's a whole separate topic. I don't want to get on another tangent. So anyway, at the same time that phone companies, the U.S. Postal Service. I mean, there are all types of ways you can communicate with someone or stalk somebody. Stalking does occur. It's real. It's not an everyday thing that most people have experienced, but that doesn't diminish that it's bad when it does occur, and there are crazy people out there. So I'm moving on. I'm making an executive decision here on Google Plus Week to move to the next topic, and that is we got the link in the doc if the panel hasn't seen this, but there's a battle happening between Path and Pinterest, and I'm looking at these two logos, and I swear to God, I think there's a point to be made that they look the same. It's like,
Or at least very similar.
it's like Coke and Diet Coke. You know what I mean? It's basically the same thing.
Those Pepsi and Cola.
Huh?
It's like Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I don't think it's that freaking insane.
I mean, I could easily see someone being confused which one to click.
Because they both have the same letter. Is that why?
Isn't that silly that they use a P? Hello.
Well, they're both called Path and Pinterest. I mean, they're
don't
both
look the
start
same
with the
to me,
letter
sorry.
P.
They don't
Come
look
on,
the same to me.
it's not just that they use a P. It's that they use a stylized P in a particular way, and they both use
In the
similar
same color.
colors.
Yeah, it's like an @ sign. Like
It's
whenever
more the
Craig,
color and the letter.
like whenever I tell Craig to email me, he always says, "Wait, is it @ or the @ sign?" In the email address. I'm just kidding. So yeah, so you look at these and I think they look pretty. I think a case can be made. And we just had this other story in the news that was about Cracker Barrel. That there's the restaurant chain, and there's the cheese. And
What? There's cheese?
there's Cracker Barrel cheese, and
Heard
there's
of it.
the Cracker Barrel restaurants, and the cheese existed before the restaurant chain, and it's sort of like Apple and Apple Records, right? So there was a lawsuit there because the restaurant chain wants to do branded products in grocery stores, and Cracker Barrel cheese is saying that some people could confuse and I think that's a legitimate beef.
Yeah.
To use a grocery pun. So, because frankly, I didn't know. At one point, I wasn't sure, and I had to look it up on Wikipedia or Google or whatever. Or I think I binged it or asked Jeeves. One of my many
I hate
alternative.
to tell you, but Wikipedia is not a Google search.
One of my many options for search, unlike my one option for cable TV, But I wasn't sure if the Cracker Barrel cheese was the same company as the restaurant. So I think it's a legit thing there, and I think in this case, it looks legit. I mean, you've got what do you guys think? Are you like going to click on the wrong icon? Pam, could you? I could totally see like you not. You know, I've just looked at this thing and I had to look back to see which one was Path, which one was Pinterest. What do you guys think? This is obviously a question for the women because no men use Pinterest.
I do.
I'm just putting that
I'm
out
gonna
there.
say
That's a whole different
I have
thing.
an account, and I don't think I've touched it in a year.
I think
So-
when we
use-
covered
I
it,
use
yeah, you're
both.
like me. When we covered it, we played with it for 5 minutes and said, okay, neat,
Yeah.
you know, and then like never went back.
Dan, I'll take that question. I use both. I use Path and I use Pinterest. Honestly, you get to know which one is which because you use them for different purposes. So it's not confusing. They don't look that similar.
Do you think it's a legit beef though for new users? I mean, because if someone's considering one or whatever, you know.
No, because if you get on Path and you were looking for Pinterest, it's different. So you'd say, oops, this isn't Pinterest, this is Path. I mean, that's just dumb. That's like saying, Facebook.
So I'm
and
dumb
Google
now.
Plus. It's just dumb.
I'm just kidding. I'm a dumb stalker.
Oh, jeez. They're out there too.
All right, so we all agree.
They're out there editing photos.
I think that the Cracker Barrel thing is interesting. I didn't hear about that. What did they decide in the end?
I think that there was a restraining order against preventing. Cracker Barrel cheese existed like, I don't know, 10 or 20 years or some period of time before the restaurant chain started. The restaurant chain was regional. They may have not been aware of the cheese at the time. Cracker Barrel is a craft brand, the cheese. And so the restaurant started out as a chain of Shell stations, and they ended up doing the store and getting rid of all the gas station affiliation. And they just wanted to basically capitalize in the same way. You can go to the frozen food section, you can see like TGI Fridays products and stuff like that. The White Castle burgers in the frozen food section, you know, just another revenue stream. And Cracker Barrel said, whoa, you know, that you were okay to be a restaurant chain, but we have a trademark that predates your restaurant chain, that's national trademark. And we don't want you doing this because it could confuse consumers. And frankly, I think what if there was a listeria outbreak from one of their food products and it caused the degradation of the craft brand, right? So I could totally see that. And it's a shame because Cracker Barrel has good food, the restaurant chain. In fact, that's where Craig and I first met. We were at a Cracker Barrel. In fact, I think I owe him a
you've
lunch
never
because I
forgiven
think
each other for
he
that.
picked up the check. Yeah.
They were in the rocking chairs playing checkers.
Absolutely, yeah, two old guys, you know. But but it's interesting, these trademark disputes, and you see these with bands a lot. Like there are several of these old Motown bands. There might be 3 or 4 of them. The Gallagher, the comedian who smashes the watermelons and stuff. They're twin brothers, and there's 2 of them, and they play different shows simultaneously as Gallagher. There's actually 2 different guys who look exactly alike, and they're still milking that act where they smash fruit and stuff. But so yeah, these trademark disputes are interesting, and this is one case where you could make a case either way. So anyway, so next up is this is just a fun, quick topic. If you guys want to tell any Dr. Seuss stories, it looks like Dr. Seuss is going to finally come out in ebook form. And I think with the arrival, and Alan has talked about this and praised these tablets that are geared for children, where there are parental controls on what the kids can have access to and what they buy, and monitoring and things like that when you're looking out for your kid to keep them safe. The classic Dr. Seuss titles will be released starting on September 24th as ebooks. And I just have fond memories as a child of these wonderful illustrated, simple books, but just really fun Dr. Seuss titles. And if anyone wants to weigh in on this in any way, any memories you have or whatever, I thought this would be a fun topic, even more fun than stalking. But But any thoughts on this, Alan? Because you got a little kid. I mean, this is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, Marvy, I'm sure.
You're really excited. You're still steamed at Craig.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know much about the topic. I was surprised to hear that they weren't in ebooks before, but whatever.
That's actually that's more newsy than anything that they weren't, right? Because it's a huge seller.
Mhm.
You know, Michael Ellis, you got kids?
No.
Jody, do you?
Oh, my kids are past Dr. Seuss.
But did they read them? I mean, when they were kids, did you read them Dr. Seuss? You know, the
I think everybody, yeah, of course. You know, the green eggs and ham, and
I
Yeah.
have Fox and Socks memorized.
oh no,
We are so not surprised.
When
about that
Tweedle
now.
Beetles paddle with pedals in a puddle on a poodle eating noodle, it's called a Tweedle Beetle paddle battle.
be afraid, be brave.
Horton heard a who. So anyway, that happened. Okay, so
You know what's interesting about that, Dan? Just because I think it is an interesting story, and that is that one of my friends has an autistic child, and the child, what they were using is an iPad, and they said that the iPad is wonderful for teaching children, particularly these children who have learning disabilities. So now that they're doing the Dr. Seuss books as electronic books, my assumption is that they probably would find something like a Nook or an iPad or something like that to be a great tool for sharing and reading these books. I'm
awesome.
just saying.
Absolutely. She's just
Interactive.
saying, you know.
Well, that's the thing. They're not going to be interactive, apparently. I mean, just reading this, it's just going to be the same presentation, just presented in an ebook format.
Yeah.
They will also be releasing read and listen versions that come with new audio recordings. But other than that, they are the same books we're familiar with.
You know, interestingly enough, so many of the companies are coming out now with ways that somebody, let's say in the service, can record their own voice, and then the kid takes a special pen, and when they put it on the page, the book is read to them in their
Yes,
father's
or
voice.
when they turn pages, I've seen several books that do the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really kind of a shame that such great books are being presented in such a ho-hum.
Right. I mean, that's it. I think there is a great opportunity, especially with Seussian stuff, to have done some remarkable work. But it sounds like, for $9 to $11, you'll be able to buy an electronic version of the same book that you can pick up today. Which is, I mean, it's nice. It's in an ebook format at least, and that does that is good for a number of people and a number of people who and how they use it. But I just wish they took it to the next level.
Okay, so next up is our preview of Our Android Week, which is a show that airs ordinarily on Monday at 9, but because YouTube is deliberately targeting our show, it's been airing on Tuesdays. For this will be the third week running. I'm being sarcastic. So anyway, Amazon, there's a rumor out that Amazon, or there's a report out about the long rumored free phone from Amazon. They are much like the Nexus 7, the first one, and the Kindle Fire. They're pretty much put out at cost. They're not they don't make money. They don't make a lot of money, if any. They are devices designed to deliver advertising and opportunities to purchase content. So I think that if there's a free phone that Amazon puts out, I'm not sure if that'll be like with the plan or what. What do you guys think? I mean, what Amazon's going to do is they're going to probably have their breakaway version of Android that is Amazon specific. And there's going to be, delivery of ads, and there'll be, opportunities to purchase things. So what do you guys think? Is this going to be a big thing, or is this overrated?
Before we skip to that, Dan, I just want to bring this one in from Joshua, who points out that he's had a Lorax app on his Android for years, and the whole Dr. Seuss line is in the Play Store as interactive apps already, and has been there for a long time. So
Interesting.
I recant what I said about it being neat that these are coming out as ebooks. I now really don't care.
Okay.
But yes, back to you on this Amazon.
Actually,
whatever.
I'm throwing it back. What do you guys think about the free Amazon phone rumor? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it will catch on? What are how would it work? I'm not clear on that. I mean, there are vague details, but
Well, I think the only thing that's clear about
at some
Amazon
point you need a
doing
carrier
anything-
network to operate the phone, correct? I mean, so
Sure,
there are
but
plenty of
Amazon's
free
already got-
phones available.
Is Dan listening to me? Sure, but Amazon already's got deals with all of these carriers. I mean, they sell their plans, they sell their phones. You know, I don't know what Amazon is going to do. All I do know is that whatever they do, it's going to be what nobody expects.
And the WhisperNet and all that all goes over cellular. You know, for the books being downloaded on the Kindles and all that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
all
certainly
over
not hard for them to make deals to get their own cellular network, basically.
Yeah, because the carriers make money from WhisperNet because Amazon's not charging the consumer, so Amazon's just straight up paying. I'm sure they're paying all the carriers, you know, for that limited. I mean, it doesn't cost hardly anything for them to, you know, send an ebook to a Kindle, so I'm sure it's not a huge revenue stream for them. But do you guys think this is going to be a big thing?
People want cheap phones. I mean, if you'd be surprised how many people will go in, and if there's a free phone, they'll take that one over getting a decent phone and spending $100. So
it'd be like the return of
Free.
the West Wing, the little flip phone, and
free works.
studies have shown free is a
A lot
great way
of
to receive
cheapskates
something.
out
yeah.
there.
Well, yeah, but Apple's coming out with their own free phones, so I mean, right? Aren't
It's
they
not gonna be-
on September 10th?
It's not gonna be free. I know that.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, not to the carriers, but the carriers might offer it for free.
Well, no, the rumor is that it's going to be free with a contract. Which
Right,
is,
that's
you know,
what I mean. Yeah, the
is
carriers.
You mean
will
free, like
subsidize
you
it.
don't pay for minutes and time, and you get to make free phone calls?
No, not that free.
Okay.
So
So
the
basically, you're getting a
Amazon-
phone with a contract.
It's going to come down to what the Amazon plans are like. If they're cheaper as well, if you get a free phone and then you get a pretty cheap plan, then I could see people going for it because there's a lot of cheapskates out there.
Jeff Bezos does
Well,
have.
listen,
Look
I'm
how
one
many
of them.
people
Yeah.
buy Android phones, for gosh sakes.
All right.
Because they're cheap.
Well, yeah, I mean, they cost less, sure. The apps
They
are
just like
less.
chocolate.
A lot of the apps are free.
So are
Um,
the Apple apps.
all right, Ellis is. We got maybe 5 minutes left with Michael Ellis. So I'm gonna move here. Okay, so Samsung has. I was so excited about the Samsung smartwatch.
How many more topics do we have?
This is it. The
You were
Samsung.
right, by the way.
We're almost
Oh
out
no!
of time.
We still have photos.
Jody,
and
Jody, I'm always right.
We still have to
Absolutely.
talk about photos.
Yeah, we got to talk about in depth about photos.
Yeah.
So Samsung
Okay.
releases a smartwatch, and we're going to talk about that Monday night on our Android, or Tuesday night. Sorry, this week, our Android week. It's really easy to develop an audience when you have to do a different night each week for the show because of this
Yeah.
deliberate
Dan!
YouTube
Oh my
attack.
God, Dan! We never mind.
No, we did. We
You
did.
can't
Father.
suppress a rant. You have to deliver the rant. That's what the audience clamors for, Alan. Okay, so Samsung is doing a smartwatch, and the reaction's kind of like meh. But they're gonna. It only works with the Note 3, which will be very interesting to me and to Bruce Turner. It was probably on his third cappuccino by now. But
Don't you have a Note 2?
It's going to
Yeah.
work on the Galaxy phone.
Don't you have a beautiful Note 2 with a cracked screen?
I do, and I have the Note 7.
You can send me the Note 2. I'll fix the screen and then keep it.
Will you do a
And,
video
um,
of you fixing the screen?
Take the Note 3. That's
Um,
it.
Yeah, so we're going to review the Samsung smartwatch, and I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed, I guess, to be honest. I want. I don't know. I'm glad there's lots of competition because I'm excited about the prospect of being able to, like, I'm driving or whatever, and, like, very quickly look down and see, it's a voicemail from mom, which would be like immediately like listen to it, right? Or a text from Craig, which would be like, hopefully in the next few days I'll be able to,
Just shake your hand and it deletes that one.
right. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Or if it's a picture from Pam, it's like, pull over,
But it's interesting. I mean, you're right, Dan. That Samsung watch, like nobody really cares about it. It's very limited in what it can do, and in fact, the reviews that I've read said that you could get an iPod Nano and strap that on your wrist, and it'll do even more. And it integrates with other devices.
Now, of course, this is hardware, right? So it can get firmware upgrades and stuff, and maybe it'll get more capabilities. There's all kinds of apps that could be developed for it. So it's a first generation device. In their defense, I'm not sure what kind of a
Doesn't it
platform it's
have
going
more
to be.
sensors in it though than, like, for example, on Nano? Doesn't it?
I don't know.
I'm
Like
not
a
sure.
pedometer and all that kind of
It
stuff.
is rumored to have some exercise-based
Does the Nano have a
stuff,
pedometer?
but
Yeah,
the
well,
new Nanos do too now. So
They have
The
a
Nanos
pedometer also?
have a screen. The Nanos have video, I believe. You can have a watch face on your Nano. You can have a Mickey Mouse face on your Nano. The Nanos cost $150. The Samsung watch came out at $299, I think. So, and now Apple's going to have a watch coming out, but I think it's interesting because it's not so much about the Samsung watch, in my opinion, but the fact that they're this idea of wearable computers, whether it's glasses or a watch. But don't you think at some point we're going to be Dick Tracy and we're going to be like looking at our watch and talking to each other and seeing video and like
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
the watch
totally
is gonna
for that. I'm looking forward to that.
I think you should replace the phone. Who needs to carry a phone if you can wear it around your wrist?
Right. I would,
If
Jody, I would much rather wear the phone as a wristwatch because I don't have to use my hands to control it. I can still have my fingers free to manipulate other things or deal with giving somebody the finger or whatever it is I need to do.
Wouldn't it be great if you were getting a phone call, Michael? Wouldn't it be great if you're driving the car, you get a phone call from Pam, your Wednesday night regular phone call when her husband's out of the. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
And you look
Yeah.
down.
Okay. So you do know that my husband does watch the show, right?
I'm joking. I'm totally making this up. So for dramatic effect. Okay. So and you're driving the car and you could like maybe shake your wrist to answer the, as opposed to having to hit the, you're fumbling around, hit the side button, swipe the, I could totally see the functionality of a wearable device. You can like maybe like they could have different controls. Like you answer the phone like this, or you
talk to it.
You do but that's iffy. I mean, like if you have some, Shriek or Anthony, it might not work as well. You know what I mean? But you could like shake it this way for one thing, or go like that. You know what I mean? I mean, all kinds of apps that guys like Michael and Alan could develop. These smart app developers. I see a lot of potential there for that wearable device. In the same way that with glass, you can like do your head up to respond. With your wrist, there's all kinds of movements, as Craig will attest. You can do. So I'm excited about this, but I'm not particularly excited about the current Samsung iteration of the smartwatch. So any final thoughts on this before we do our how was your week?
This one will be out for a year or so, and then Apple will come out with one and show them how to do it properly.
You'll be so excited when Apple's comes out, Craig. We'll have to install a tarp
Yeah.
under your stand.
It will
stand-up desk.
be all that.
And
nope, Apple will screw it up too.
there will be a line wrapped around the building.
It'll take Apple at least 2 generations to come out with halfway decent one, and I'm not convinced it'll be a watch.
Alan Furstenberg, how was your Google Plus week?
Marby.
Murphy.
We have this comment from Inspector. Pam is a marvelous ambassador for the benefits of enhancing hangouts with wine consumption.
And the disco lamp. Don't forget the disco lamp behind her. The strobe. We can only imagine. What kind of
tilt
wild...
it down.
Oh, look
a
at
little
those.
more, Pam.
How many bottles of beer behind you, Pam? Move your shoulder over again. How many?
Two bottles of beer behind me and then one in front of me.
I know what your favorite one is.
Hey, I'd rather have a frontal
The bigger bottle.
bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. That's what it is.
There you go.
All right. So, Alan, is that your Google Plus week?
We have this comment from Cadeus. If you guys have seen the web series H+, that's what I'm looking for. Kind of looks at Google Glass. The watch is so 1990. Remember the Super Mario World watch? That's what this thing is. Cadeus is clearly not a watch fan.
Is anyone a watch fan?
Off to you, Craig.
Not me.
How was
I
your
like
Google
watches.
Plus week?
I'm a watch fan. Here you go.
I'm not a watch fan, but I gotta have it.
I'm a watch fan. I use them to actually tell time, though.
Show that
So-
case again, Craig,
What?
and say something while you're showing it so we can see it. Like how
So-
much? What's that? About $100,000 in that thing? What is it?
No.
Easily
30,
10.
40,000.
Wait a minute, are those Mariners?
There's various watches. I've got all the reviews. If you just do keyword watch on my YouTube channel, I've got reviews of all of them. So anyway,
$40,000 worth of watches?
probably, yeah.
Yeah. How's that geotag search doing you now, Craig?
Yeah.
All over viewers.
Hey, and that's
Viewers,
right.
please make note. Craig
Hey,
lives in
and
Frederick,
I-
Maryland,
hey.
and he's got
And I
a simple
show all
and a
this
handy
stuff, you know,
carrying
people
case.
are
He's got $40,000 of watches for
People are
you.
like, you're somebody's going to come there and take all your cameras and all this stuff. You show it all on the YouTube. I said, I've been doing it for 10 years and nobody's
But-
come here. I just
But
want
to be
anybody
fair,
to come, for God's
he does
sake.
have $40,000 of watches in a handy carrying case for a burglar. But he also has about
All kinds of
50,000.
camera
He also
gear.
has about.
In case of
I've
emergency.
got
No,
about
no.
$50,000 worth of camera gear sitting right
But he's
there.
also
I
got
mean,
$50,000 worth of knives within arm's reach. So just to let you know, go ahead and show us one of your knives, Craig.
Oh, here's a good one. This one is all titanium, and this is a composite blade. This is a CR550. This is the limited edition with the composite blade and the carbon fiber handle.
So if the stalker comes to get the watches, they should be aware of your other
And
collection.
here's the matching one. Non-composite blade.
So you guys think I was
So
kidding?
a CR550.
I got one too.
CR560.
What do you do with those?
I got one
Kill
too.
people. I'm a professional
You know what?
killer.
We have gone really downhill.
Hey, Craig,
Look
I
at
got
this,
one
everybody.
too.
Show me your knife.
This one comes with the glass breaker too.
If you think this is downhill, you have never watched the show before.
Yeah, this is
Really?
actually
Speak softly, but show me your knife. I
this
mean,
is like
really?
PG.
no.
This
it
is
can't.
PG-13. I mean, this is
That's
nothing.
the title. That's the title.
Wait a minute, Michael.
The title is.
Where's your knife?
Oh my God!
You want a knife?
Wow.
Jesus
I got you a
Christ.
knife.
I'll go get the freaking machete. But,
That's not a
Oh, I've got a
Sheila.
machete.
That's not a Sheila. Okay, so
The title of the show is "I Digress." Show me your knife.
all right, I'm gonna do mine because I got to pee. So I'm gonna do my Google Plus week.
So how was your Google Plus week, Dan?
My Google Plus week was excellent. I shared several posts. I got about 12,000 notifications a day, like usual. And we invited Jody on the show, and she was epic, awesome. And Jennifer is coming on, I think, next week to join us. And they're both suggested by Craig, because I'd been on Brad's excellent show before. And I remember telling Craig, I said, because I had never seen Jody. I'd only seen her because it was an audio show, Tech Webcast. So I was like, I said, God, Craig, she's got like this amazing radio voice. She should be on the radio. And she's smart, and she's got all these, she really knows her tech stuff. If you look at her profile, I mean, she's got game, right? And so I'd never seen her before. And Craig said, like, you should get her on Google Plus Week. And I said, so, okay, I'll ask her. And she was fantastic. And she's not shy. I like that. She's like Pam.
And you're aware that she's
Only
right there
different.
listening to
Yeah,
you right
she's
now.
like
I'm
Pam, only she
praising
knows
her.
stuff
Yeah,
about
I'm
tech,
yeah, she's
and
red
I
faced
don't.
now. She's red faced. which is cool. But I just, it was exciting. And she got the whole, like, if you got something to say, knock somebody else down and say it. You know what I mean? Don't like be shy, girl. You know what I mean? Because some folks join and they're like, kind of like taken aback by the verbal jousting that goes on and the very competitive nature of who gets the mic time, right? So she got right in there and was like, no, you guys are wrong. Let me tell you why. And so that was really epic. So it was this was the culmination of a good week. And I've been following all the serious stuff, watching that, seeing how that goes. I don't know how it's going to end up. The key thing to me, and I don't want to get off on a big sidetrack, but if you guys want to weigh on this, you can. We got a couple minutes. But I am not convinced that Assad did it, because I think he had the most to lose, because Obama said this is the line in the sand and there's lots of people to gain by the U.S. bombing Assad, the least of whom is Assad. And I have not seen 100% convincing proof from the administration. So that's kind of what I've been following a lot. And I've been talking to, like, I got friends at the Washington Post and Politico and NBC and stuff, and I've been talking, off the record to them. But I'm just wondering how this is going to end. I think this is going to be a complete disaster for the administration, because there's no way in hell this is going to pass from my current analysis of it. But so that was my Google Plus week. And I want to say that there's no doubt that those weapons were used and that it was outrageous and it was straight out of the 1940s. And whoever did that should be punished. But I am not in any way convinced that it was the person being accused of it. And I think that this is a setup. I just don't know. I'm not sold on it. It's not a open and shut case to me in any way. So that was my Google Plus week.
Now go pee.
Thank you, Dan. So Jody, your first week on the show, how'd it go, and how was your Google Plus week?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be among you guys. Thank you, Dan. And I mean, what a hoot! I admire each of you. You're all bright, and I learned a lot from all of you, from watching you before. And
yeah. You're buttering us up. You'll get invited back. That's fine.
I'm still not hanging upside down, mind. Next time Pam has to share the wine. But yeah, it was good.
Beer. I'm drinking beer.
That too. But it was very good. Thank you for having me, and I apologize for jumping out and coming back. So, but thanks.
So, how was your week?
My week was it was exciting. This week was Yom Kippur, so a little bit of a hiatus in the middle. But beyond that, did a lot of reflecting, and a lot of good things happening, other than Syria.
Really, you don't have to say it just because Dan did.
No, I'm not happy about that whole situation. I don't know that there is any good outcome, but there's not a whole lot that we as individuals are going to be able to do to impact it, in my humble opinion. And that was my week. How was your week, Alan?
Peachy keen. Michael Banks, how was your Google Plus week?
Tiring, even though we got Monday off. And it was fun answering a lot of edit photo questions.
That was fun.
What, really? What was that all about?
I mean, it was just, it was fun. And that was my Google Plus week.
You don't want to elaborate on these questions anymore?
Yeah, it refers to the questions at. Yeah.
Michael Ellis, how was your Google Plus week?
I had a great Google Plus week. My community language practice hangouts plug went to over 25,000 members this week, so we're very excited about that.
What's the name of that community again, Michael?
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't I mention it? It's
No.
Language Practice Hangouts.
Oh, okay.
For those that are trying to learn various languages, we support a whole slew of different languages, and we have native speakers and other learners that are coming together to practice what they're learning.
Is there a URL where they can find out more about that?
Yes, sir, there is. If they go to languagepracticehangouts.com, there is a calendar page within that, and it shows all of the languages and the times and dates of the Hangouts. And you can even select your local time zone to indicate the Hangouts that are in times that work for you. Thanks,
Wow.
Craig.
Wow, that's cool.
Pam, how was your Google Plus week?
My Google Plus week was pretty good. We had Labor Day, so we had barbecues. I posted barbecue stuff. It was my husband's birthday on Tuesday, and I took that day off too. I had 5 days off in a row. It was awesome.
Nice.
And we went to the Cheesecake Factory, and that's his place, not mine. And so that was really fun. It was really, 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 really hot and muggy this week. That's unusual here in Southern California, and we're all dying because it's still hot at night. Air conditioner's been on since 7 a.m.
Wow.
So it's still hot. It was 105, and it felt like 115 today. So it's really hot.
Yikes.
Let's see what else. I posted a rant about circle sharing. There's this like these complete and utter rampant share my circle if you want to be included, and it's like your entire stream gets spammed by all these circle shares. These
Yeah, it's annoying.
newer people to Google Plus don't want to gather followers the organic way. They want them now, right now, and it's pretty spammy. So I posted some rants about that, and that's about it.
Okay, great. Thank you. We had this question from Cadeas. What's the red Google Plus book in your background? And I assume he's referring to this. I don't know how well you guys can see it.
Platform.
Take
Is
the
that-
comment away.
Yeah, you
It's-
have to unshare the comments so we can see.
See, I can't. My camera stopped working, so I'm not even sure.
There
what
we
you're
go.
looking
Oh, there
at
we
now.
go. We
Now
got
it's
it
working.
now.
So I assume he's referring to this that says Google Plus Platform. It's not actually a book. It is a bag. And it was a bag that I got several months back from the Google Plus Platform Developer Relations team as a goodie bag.
It was a swag bag.
It was a swag bag for attending a seminar on how to use the Google Plus sign-in. And
Yeah.
this is one of the characters that came with the swag.
Aww.
This
Oh, isn't that cute?
this nice, cute little robot that actually doubles as an earphone splitter. If you decapitate him, anyway.
I think
So-
I asked you this before. Real quick, how difficult is it to add the Google Plus sign-in to a website, like one of our websites?
It is tricky. Since it does require a little bit of programming knowledge and understanding, but it's not that difficult. If you've added other sign-ins, it's certainly no big deal. The real question is, what are you expecting to get out of it? So it's a little tricky, but the steps to do so are fairly clear. There's actually a fairly good documentation on it. The real question is, what are you hoping to get from it?
Just an easier way for members to sign up.
That's a pretty laudable goal, and it probably will help you achieve that. Assuming they have Google Plus, which is always a good question.
Now, if can't they do it if they just have a Gmail account?
If they just have a Gmail account and
Nope.
they use the button, it will ask them to upgrade it to a Google Plus account.
Okay.
All right.
Back to you, Dan.
Any final comments, Alan, that we should highlight before we
Nope.
roll out?
Nope, I think this one from Cadeas says it all. The show's in the bag.
Absolutely. All right. A swag bag
Right.
from Alan. Yeah, good call, Mr. Ellis. in your waning moments.
Yeah, I'm about to go.
Yep, he's on borrowed time now. Okay, so thanks so much to Jody for joining us tonight. And Jody, hang out for a minute, please. I'm gonna watch the show on my beautiful Nexus 7.
Oh, yeah.
Which is I'm not sure when it's going to be released, but this is I have a pre-release version here.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Which will yeah.
Oh, you mean that's
so-
not really chocolate?
It is. It is. It is.
That's the 7-inch version. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
So, so
Oh,
Dan,
God.
so Dan, Jody can actually be your new lighting director.
I think so. Yeah, she's got game. Yeah, absolutely. So, folks, we'll be back with our Android Week on Tuesday, a special time, thanks to YouTube. Thank you, Dory, for warning us a week ahead of time. God bless you. And that's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. And we'll be back with another Google Plus Week show every Friday. And we thank the commenters and the viewers so much because you are as important as the panel to the show, and your observations are awesome, and we love it. And thank you, thank you, thank you. So until next time, have a wonderful, epic, awesome, most asbestos Google Plus Week.